back on a glorious Monday, and hopefully this time my volume doesn't drop out near the end. 2.5 hours in, the volume mysteriously drops out. So I am just going to assume that I am here now. And if I'm on for like 10 minutes and everyone tells me, what the fuck, you're still on here? Well, oh well. Yep. Last time we played more Raging Loop. We continued our run as the wolves ourselves. Had to navigate around our other two wolves, not just killing me, which was pretty awkward because they still doesn't quite exactly get them to not kill me. Who knows what the fuck they're doing? We find out there's a whole bunch more rules and weirdness while you're the wolf. And Kemi killed herself instead of letting us kill someone. So I'm not sure what's going on yet. Stormpike did say something. It would be funny if everybody just coincidentally dies and we never kill anybody. Kind of wondering if that's what's about to happen. Or like everybody dies for dumb reasons. Like maybe Yoshigetsu goes out and gets himself killed by the corruption. Which now more than ever feels like there's definitely some mundane reason for it, right? Like they tried to like brush it off, but considering how everybody's bodies are like ripped to pieces and everything, it really feels like there's like actual vicious trained dogs that if you don't put that special magic water on yourself, they'll rip you to pieces. And that's the only reason why the in quotes wolves don't get killed by it. So it's interesting. But well, both the other wolves are just bad. It's the big bad wolf, not because it's big, mean, and imposing. It's the big bad wolf because, Jesus Christ, if I even say something they don't like, they'll try killing me. Anyway, let's go back to the game itself then. So yeah, I'm not honestly sure where the game's going to go with half the stuff. Just got to keep going as it slowly shows me its storylines. Because as we've realized before, sometimes the game doesn't want to show me everything. And sometimes the game will let me loop without impunity and just say, oh yeah, you looped about a dozen times before you got it right. And then sometimes when I think you should be looping, trying to see if you can change an outcome, it doesn't let you do that because, well, once again, the game is trying to tell you a story in an order. So let's pick right back up where we were. Where the volume died on me last time. So where we last left off, this one was everybody was wandering around after the first night, after Kemi killed herself and the wolves didn't kill anybody. They did point out that the corruption did kill somebody and not the wolves, which even Kinzo said was odd. And the reporters split up in their own group, and everybody else split up in the groups. So we're trying to see if we can join someone's conversation or eavesdrop, or as our protagonist says right now, I wanted to do something no one could predict. I looked up to the sky, and suddenly the ground vanished beneath my feet. Whoa! Ow! Basically, I walked over a small cliff. Well, that's why you don't look up and keep walking, you idiot. Since I was unstable and fell feet first, I ended up hitting my legs, ass, back, and head on the ground below. Even if there were no feast, someone could actually die in the mist by accident. And I now knew that better than ever. As I tried to get up, I felt an intense pain in my leg. Ah, crap, it's twisted. This was so stupid. Although the area below the plaza was clearly out of bounds, so I was breaking the rules here. Though this was an accident, I hadn't played myself, so I probably wouldn't draw any more suspicion than I already had. As I stood up, "What are you doing?" I heard a voice behind my right side. And along with it, something metallic. I instinctively raised my hands, but the pain that came over me made me groan. God damn it. I nearly fell to my knees out of pain, but I was afraid that he wouldn't tolerate any sudden movement, so I slightly bent my body. Fell? Yeah. Twisted it? Yeah, sorry. That was clumsy of me. Another metallic sound, followed by a few distant ones. I had no idea what that meant, so it just became more tense. I took out the bullets. It's fine. I slowly turned to the right. Kanzo-san had his gun over his shoulder, not ready to fire. They let me finally relax, but my leg still hurt. I might have sprained it. Can you walk? After a little rest, sure. Left side? Yeah. Here. To my surprise, he rested his gun in a more comfortable position, then came up to me, crouched, and lent me his shoulder. He seemed much shorter than me, but that was probably an illusion caused by his posture. We were Oh, so Kanzo's a gamer. Oh, shit. Damn. Never. You know what? Congrats, old man. I would. You know what? He does seem like the gamer type. We were probably about equal in height. Also, his body was a whole lot more solid than mine. Every part touching me seemed to be covered in hard muscle. I wasn't too fond of the idea of being punched by this beast. The beast inside, you might say. Now I thought about it, all the wolves so far were physical weaklings. They even needed guns to make it through a direct confrontation during the day. Sorry for the trouble. If you're not used to it, don't do it. Okay. Who do you think you are, wolves? This wasn't like him either. He really didn't seem like the type of person to ask that kind of thing here, of all places. And from the person he trusted least. From everyone's perspective, it's me. I came at such a suspicious time. You all know nothing about me. You're shady, but that's got nothing to do with being a wolf. A considerate response? From him? Something wasn't right here. What was I to do? Got it. Talk about Haru's love life? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you talk about who his granddaughter's dating? What are you doing, dude? She's a kid. She's a child. What are you doing? He's gonna put the bullets back in the gun and kill you. Alright, we're back in the fucking horny arc, I guess. Sure, talk about Haru's love life. Fine. Oh, Haru-chan. The moment I said that, he stopped walking. It made me put more weight over my left leg, making me groan in pain. What about her? His grip seemed to become unnaturally stronger. Well, she was really afraid of the mist yesterday, but now she's not? Doesn't seem like her. Nonsense. So it is like her? If it's for men and children, women throw away their hang-ups. For a moment, that sounded like sexism, but then I realized it could be interpreted as criticism of men, who often clung to their biases no matter what. That aside, analyzing his words made it clear that Haru-chan's change was because of a man. Oh, Yasunaka-kun? Does she like him? Everyone's saying that. Everyone, huh? That was what the countryside for you. Love stories had nowhere to hide. Poor Haru-chan. But Yasunaka-kun was very shocked that Kemi-chan died. Young'uns hates and loves are a bunch of trouble, and that never changes. He resumed walking. Basically, he was wary of any suspicions directed to his granddaughter because of some worthless child soap opera stuff. I could totally understand. The truth was that she was actually a wolf, and that she was acting like that because she was overdoing the plan I'd set up, so the suspicions were completely right. In other words, Sumare, these suspicions could fade even quicker if someone presented an even simpler story as an alternative. Huh? I actually was kind of falling for Kemi-chan too. Before the mist came, I asked her if she was seeing someone, and she said that she was. I then asked if she was in some other town, but her answer wasn't clear. But she also said that she was cheating on her, so she was thinking of breaking up with him. That he was cheating on her and she was thinking of breaking up with him. What a sudden change. That true? He gripped my arm really hard, and I grimaced at the pain in my leg, looked straight into his wrinkly face. Hey! It's true that she told me that, but I don't know if she was willing to tell. I don't know if she was telling the truth. Also, I don't know who the boyfriend is. Could be someone else. After looking at nothing in particular, he turned away from me. I do think Yasunaka-kun is a good kid. He didn't give any sort of response. All right. I'll just sow the seeds of malice. Once I returned to the dining hall, Tayson took a look at my injury. "We told you not to go outside, foolish child." "I'm sorry. It really is dangerous. I'll just stay put now." "As you should." Tayson brought a hand towel from the counter and skillfully bandaged my leg. She even put some weird leaves on my skin. Apparently they helped with sprains like this. She then took a wet towel and plastic bag and applied it to the wound. It was a substitute for ice, and it worked better than you'd think. Despite this being a medical matter, Kiyonosuke refused to get involved. Orthopedics weren't his specialty, apparently. The empty pride he displayed when saying that actually calmed me down. It was very like him. "It pains me to see you injured like this, but I am glad that it does not seem so bad. Sorry for worrying you." Did you break your leg?" "So you know what broken bones are, huh?" "Anyway, nah, I sprained it." "Sprained?" "Sprained." "Strained?" Was I that bad at talking? "Does it hurt?" "Yeah, a lot." "It's a punishment." "Punishment? Did I hear that right?" "It's a punishment. You did something very bad." "Oh, I didn't? What's gotten into you today?" "I am sorry. I do not know why, but she has been like this all day long. She really did seem like she was in a bad mood." Had she seen something? I was worried for a moment, but Miko didn't say anything more. She just continued being sulky. What was her deal? Uh-oh, don't tell me she's the snake and she looked at us the first day. Eventually, everyone returned, and this ended up being nothing major. My injury was actually the biggest event. Some were worried, some picked on me, some scolded me for not being careful. Their reactions were varied, but it didn't look like anyone suspected me because of it. Yasunaga-kun was in a better mood today. When Haru-chan and Mochi brought some foraged goods, he thanked them with a smile. There was debate about whether he'd actually eat the stuff. Tayson said that something out of the corrupt mist. Kiyonosuke considered the possibility of there being poison plants, etc. We chopped it all up, put some sauce on it, and the volunteers, the children Hashimoto-san and the industrious food critic Mamiya-san, ate up. Nothing happened, of course. Because of my injury, no one wanted to go outside anymore. An hour after lunch, Kanzo said it was time, and we began the feast. "Drink more, it'll hurt less." Half grinning in response, I drank more of the divine sake than usual. As far as I knew, though, alcohol wasn't good for when you were injured. Thus, the feast started. "First of all, let's talk about Kemi. What happened to her? Got anything, Yasunaga?" The Kumi-san started out by giving the lead to Yasunaga-kun, who really accepted it. They probably decided on this during the secret talk. He gave several ideas. Kemi could have accidentally wandered outside on some errand. She also could have not returned home for some reason. And lastly, Kemi could have been killed by wolves who wanted to make it look like the corruption did it. That was when Takumi-san mentioned that you couldn't stay awake even if you wanted to, and Yoshigitsu-kun vouched for that. With that, everyone agreed that it was unlikely that she'd accidentally gone outside. The talk was similar to the one we'd had when talking about Mamiya-san's death last time. However, unlike this time, it had been a given that Mamiya-san had returned to her room once, so we'd reached a conclusion that she, a person who didn't end up sleeping, was a wolf. The idea that Kemi didn't return back home to begin with had me forming a certain theory. According to Kemi, from the first loop, you could be outside until 8 in the evening. Yesterday, I'd woken up about 10 p.m., meaning that anyone in their rooms between 8 and 10 would go to sleep. Or rather, be forced into sleep. That was when the wolves would be woken up, get in the wolf outfit they were given during the night, and do their deeds. From what I could tell, the humans would stay asleep. That was why they were always killed without putting up a fight. Also, when we were in the porta potty, we didn't go to sleep. So whatever is causing sleep wasn't forcing us to go to sleep there. So it's only around the houses. Or where they think that people are, I guess. After that, the wolves would return to their homes and be forced to sleep. Well, see, the reason why it's a feast is you eat once and then you have to continue to eat more. Otherwise, it's just a meal. If you don't eat more than just once, it's not a feast anymore. It's not a feast if you're completely bloated and sluggish by the end and wanting to go to sleep. Maybe that's why they fall asleep every night. It's not because of some special gas or some magic powers. They're just really full from eating and then hanging someone. It's just what you do. Then, the wolf outfit would be picked up, and they would wake up the following morning. The Feast of the Yomi Purge wouldn't work without the sleep function. However, I knew for a fact that people could die just by being outside their rooms. The first time it happened to Mamiya-san and Hashimoto, who wanted to spend the night in their van, while Yoshigitsu-kun was torn apart because of his own recklessness. Last time, if you excluded Mamiya-san, a wolf, Yoshigitsu-kun suggested going outside right after everyone went to bed. The first time, he'd probably gone outside long before everyone was forced to sleep. Basically, if you were in a room at a certain time, you would be forced to go to sleep. That was probably the true meaning behind the shelter taboo. It was just a prerequisite for the main factor in controlling the feast. Dreaming, or in other words, sleep. Why would you say dreaming, or in other words, sleeping? It was a prerequisite for the main factor in controlling the feast. Being asleep. That was why those who didn't shelter would be eliminated by the bringers of corruption. Looking at it that way, I felt I could see the cunning, logical truth behind Great Lord Shinai. Yeah, so you need to either go to your rooms, where we know where we can put you to sleep, or if you're not, and you're just hanging around, we're just going to murder you because, you saw us doing our shady bullshit. Anyway, the main matter right now was Kemi. I had no idea she could survive outside until she committed suicide, but I would just assume she did. All right, so the thing I think we're missing, assumably the story is making us not think about this now. She was surrounded by blood before we got to her. Kemi, since she had a shotgun, probably killed what I think might be actual trained dogs or something. She might actually have killed the dogs that are supposed to be the corruption or whatever was out there. Like, even if it was people, if she goes and she fucking shoots them with a goddamn shotgun and now they're bleeding, they're running the fuck away. That's one thing we never checked. There was blood all around Kemi before she killed herself, so we have no idea what was there. It could literally just have been a dog corpse and we were just too stupid to look and find it. Who knows? Maybe we'll find that later somehow. I don't know. I had no idea how she could just fly outside until she committed suicide, but I would just assume she did. I also didn't know if she was waiting for the wolves or just happened to encounter us when we went to the dorm. However, it was clear that she'd been outside the whole time. Yasunaga-kun also believed that and said that to everyone. His own idea that it was actually a murder made it look like a rule violation was dismissed because Kemi's futon wasn't even spread out in a room. That meant that she hadn't even intended to dream last night. So you're saying that you don't know why, but Chine's death was like an accident? And that the wolves still hadn't killed anyone, right? Yes. After Yasunaga-kun explained his position, Mochi interjected. He was a passive participant, but really good at it. Most of his few words were on the mark. He was also the monkey, so no one had to worry about him trying to mislead people. So you're saying that the wolves themselves hesitated to kill? That's what I think. That misinterpretation was actually good for us. Though we didn't plan for it, we got rid of a human, and there wouldn't be a hanging today as retaliation. At least a part of me hopes so. I don't think so. Kanzo-san argued against it, of course. Why? It's too good for the wolves. Sharp. I see where you're coming from, but we must know what really happened to Kemi before we can say that. It's the other way around. Say it, Yasu. Huh? Someone died at night. Normally, it's the wolves doing. Just say it. But Deba, the old wolf man, said that it was the corruption. That's what I thought, but it's difficult. The wolf is coming! Ain't good for me. Ain't good enough for me. Then how do you explain why Chide's futa wasn't spread out? It don't matter much. Yes, it does. Yasu, shut up. Kanzo-san's words were full of irritation, if not anger. It brought a change to everyone's expressions. It was the only one who could see this rationally. After all, I was the one who caused this. I'd presented him with an unproven personal matter between me and a deceased girl, maliciously giving him several ways to view it. One of them led to the conclusion that Yasunaga-kun was a dirty cheater who played both Kemi and Haru-chan. I led Kanzo-san to that convenient idea without putting myself at any risk. I wasn't expecting us to avoid today's lynching to begin with. Thus, I would instead gain their trust by just leading them to the truth. There's another possibility. Kemi-chan could have committed suicide. The idea shocked everyone, but it was actually easy to explain. It was true after all. Yeah, she literally could just have walked outside and waited for the corruption to kill her. I'm assuming that's what we're going to say. Someone who committed suicide wouldn't prepare their futon, and since the suicide was enough bloodshed for the night, the wolves didn't kill anyone else. It was an answer that let people combine the idea that the wolves didn't kill, but planned to. Then why was her body in that state? What kind of suicide leads to that? The wolves saw her body after she committed suicide and just left it there, letting the local beasts have at it. Does that make sense? We got beasts that could do that? In this area, old man? He wanted to prove that the wolves were out for blood, but his knowledge as a hunter denied the possibility of there being such beasts there. So I helped him out. This isn't something I wanted to consider, but it might have been a monster, or maybe a god? Think about it. There's definitely something that brings the corruption. There were lots of dead dogs on the first day, right? If there was a being that could do that around the area, it could easily find Kemi's body and do the same. It could be Yamabito, Badger, or a real wolf. Well, it is true that there might be something spreading the corruption. Oh, how terrifying. Fusashi sighed. Please don't needlessly frighten people. That's not my intention. I actually do think there's an identified menace around these parts, but we should be wary of it. It could be the reason why the corpse was destroyed. Shouldn't we keep that in mind? Well, you're not wrong. Wait, even if that was a suicide, there's no proof that the wolves wanted to kill, right? Also, I don't think that Kemi's the type to commit suicide. Yeah, there's no way she would kill herself. Please calm down, everyone. So he joined in. How would he handle this? Can I give my opinion? Go ahead. Of course. I might not look like it, but I used to be a cameraman in a war zone, so I've seen many gruesome things. Seriously? Yes, and I'm not an expert, so I can't be sure. But it looked to me like her head was scattered in a strange way. Some pieces even reached high up the wall. I even took a photo. It looked like a gun wound to me. A large gun at that. And from point blank range even. Sharp. A few people looked at Kanzo-san. It was a fitting reaction, considering he had a gun, and he grunted in response. Oh, I don't believe it has anything to do with Makashima-san. What are you getting at? The only real situation when blood and other things can fly high up is when someone puts the gun in their mouth and shoots it. It'd be pretty hard to do it with a large gun. A murder would more likely be at an even or downward angle. That makes me think that Fusashi-kun is right and that it was a suicide. Did she have a gun? No. Not that I know of. Never heard if she did. But she says she's got a hunting license. Huh? Seriously? Then she could have had a shotgun? She had guts. If I was going to have someone go hunting, it'd have been her. Kanzo-san's tone grew lower as he displayed an unexpectedly high opinion of her. The story that she was being cheated on must have hit even harder than I thought. Kemi really did have her place here. She must have gotten a license because she thought so herself. That could only mean that the gloomy talk from last time, "But there's no place for me here," was just nonsense from a wolf. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Why didn't she have a gun then? We didn't find anything in her room either, not even bullets. I was curious about why there was no gun too. But there were no bullets either, or shells, or with the rest of her stuff at last time? Did they mess up while searching or something? The room was unlocked, so anyone can go in, right? I mean, maybe one of the other wolves took it on us. Maybe even Haru has the gun now. She is in the same dorm that Kemi was in. She could have went in, checked her room, took another shotgun, and now she's hiding one around. Right? I believe we should fear the worst. The wolves took both the gun and the bullets. That was when Mamiya-san took over. I do understand that it doesn't make complete sense to fear a gun that, for all we know, might not exist. But I believe we should check everyone's rooms. I'm not sure if they would hide it somewhere so obvious. What do you think? I think it's important to show we're willing to search. Let's do it. Fine by me. Wait, I don't think you should look around my house for such a reason. There might be old hunting rifles that have nothing to do with this. So you have something to hide? Honestly, I don't think he'd take a gun with him. He probably already has one or two, and he's got no spine. Chikamochi, you... But he's not wrong. In fact, the very idea of taking something like that from a corpse is making me nauseous. Huh, chicken? Afraid of corpses, huh? I heard that's why you can't make it as a doctor. No, Stop it, Yoshigitsu. Masato-san, please forgive him. So she really was afraid of corpses. Man, the guy sure was hard to make sure... So he was really afraid of corpses. Man, the guy sure was hard to make use of. Still, there was no reason for us to be afraid here. After all, they weren't the ones who took the gun. Literally, the worst part about corpses and dead bodies is literally just the stomach. Back after I got out of college, one of my uncles does autopsies for the state of Ohio. So he had me and my cousin, because my cousin was doing doctor stuff, or well, she wasn't a doctor then, she is now, but she was doing physician assistant stuff. So what she ended up doing was, I went with her to an autopsy, and you're just moving around a fucking cold dead thing. It doesn't really mean anything. But once you're cutting it open, it's fine, because there's no fresh blood flow or anything. It's mostly coagulated because it's in a cooler, and by the time you get there, so there's no mess, there's nothing. It's just kind of like a pale flesh. The only part about a corpse that sucks is anything that was in the stomach when it died, because that shit smells like fucking hell. That's literally the worst part. Once you're able to get rid of that smell out of there and either get used to it or vent it out, then there's no issue moving around with a corpse or anything. If it's not splattered and it's been chilled like that in for an autopsy, you don't have to worry about oh no, because I get woozy at real living blood. If I got a big cut and I was losing a lot of blood, I would get woozy, even if it's not a lot, just oh damn. That's one of those weird things, right? When you get lose control of yourself, even though there's no reason to. Why the fuck am I being woozy here? Same thing that happened when we went to the I think it was a history museum or something like that, or the Liberty Science Center or something. There was a an image of an open heart surgery, and even that made me woozy. It's one of those things where I wish I wasn't, but it fucking happens, man. But like I said, something around the corpse when there isn't flowing blood, then no issue. It's just the smell just sucks with the stomach. Ugh, that literally is just the worst part. Damn you, digestion. Anyway, back to the... Still, there was no reason for us to be afraid here. After all, we weren't the ones who took the gun. I mean, sometimes if an insect is flying around, you try to get rid of it because you don't want the damn thing buzzing around. But luckily, I don't have that. Luckily, I am free of that one. Because sometimes it's just bugs being annoying and you have your legs itching, but nothing too straight out for that. But yeah, when you have a bunch of a dozen buzzing things around your faces or little bugs, and you're just get the away from me, you stupid pain in the ass. Why are you coming after me? Go after the person over there. I can only assume it was Great Lord Shinai again. Thanks to Hashimoto-san, that just about everyone now agreed that Kemi had killed herself with a gun. Proof was a very important thing. The people of Yasumizu really had to realize that. By cleaning up the corpses right away, they made it harder to find out the truth. Even Yasunaga-kun accepted that Kemi had committed suicide. He was now muttering something like, "Chine, why?" Kanzo-san looked at him with extremely intense eyes. If you connected the story from before with the suicide, you could assume that it was a result of the love triangle drama. After all, she committed suicide in front of Yasunaga-kun's room. With that settled, Takumi-san spoke up again. So, what do we do today? We hang it or not? After a moment of silence, she wasn't killed by the wolves. That's why we shouldn't lynch anyone. She said we'd hang if someone died. It wasn't the wolves. May I say something? What is it? I believe that Serizawa-sama was acting on the spider's mentality.
Huh? What do you mean?
She took the corruption in herself. She protested us by acting like the spider. Wise and brave as she is, Sarazawa-sama could easily do something like that.
Tell us more.
Last night, she might have drawn her own blood to protect those with guardians among us. She might have committed suicide after witnessing the arrival of the wolves.
Chan. She might have been violent, but she was honest and gentle too.
It ain't that. Chine just had guts.
Then, were the wolves really planning to kill her? Sure you're not overthinking it? But honestly, I can't think of any other case in which Chine would commit suicide.
Harney, if Chine didn't know what to do, she'd shoot someone else before herself. She knew exactly what she was doing here.
Yet she always stood up to protect us in school, didn't she?
Chine,
what do we do? It's looking like they will want to hang someone today.
I would want to vote on it at least.
Hashimoto-san,
we must survive. This might be necessary to accomplish that.
but
If that was really her reason, then Sarazawa-san didn't have a guardian. The snake must still be alive, and he or she has information for us. And if everyone here can band together against the wolves, then the situation is very different from how it was yesterday. I'll still listen to my conscience and vote against killing, but I'll accept the results. Alright, we'll raise hands for it. Huh. Anyone who's for voting on who to hang, raise your hands. The old wolf guy, Yamawaki-san, Kanzo-san, Kinosuke-shi, Takumi-san, Rikako, Mochi, Yoshigitsu, and I raised their hands. The only ones who didn't were Kaori, Yasunaga, Haru, Miko, and the Journos. Mochi?
Sorry, Yasun, but I feel like I gotta avenge Chine.
Oh, really? If you really wants that, she could have showed up at our dreams or something.
Yeah.
9 against 6. Choose who to hang. Guess we have no choice. Oh, if we pick and lynch someone, do we just go our own ways then? How is it, old man? The feast ends when someone's hanged. Then, before that, I would like to say something about the snake. If they found a wolf today, they should come out with it.
That's a good idea. It would make it easier to choose who to hang, and the spider could protect them. I hope we don't get multiple.
Just like Yasunaga-kun pointed out yesterday, we're bound to have more than one. Right after the first comes.
Yeah, if the real one came out now, I would have to play the fake. But the real one wouldn't come out just yet.
Hey, Snake, you found a wolf?
Doesn't look like it. That means the person they found yesterday was a human.
I see. Now, does anyone here want to be investigated before anyone else?
For a moment, I almost ignored that nonchalant question. But a second later, I almost stopped breathing. This was an attack. I had no idea why I thought that. But this was a deadly attack. What was that? It'd be cool if we took Hashimoto's plans, went into a different loop, and said the same thing. But like, oh fuck, oh yeah, you had a great idea. Let me take a couple steps back here. I can use this to get somebody out early. What was I supposed to do about it? What was the right choice? Ooh. So, if you raise your hand... Okay, so here's the 50-50. You raise your hand. Now, the snake might think, they raised their hand. They're probably not a wolf. I'll investigate someone else. But if you raise your hand and they investigate you and they find you're a wolf, well, you're kind of fucked. Unless you start playing the weird game. Now, there is no locks here, so me raising my hand might not exactly get me to the right one, but this might be interesting. So I think I might get the more information due to me looping from raising my hand. Now, I could also just not raise my hand, and then somebody else raises their hand, and they investigate them, and you're fine. It could also be that a lot of people raise their hands because they're not wolves. And if suddenly all the wolves didn't raise their hands, and like everybody but one person, but like 3 people don't, or 1 or 2 people don't, then they're probably the ones who are going to get investigated. So I'm going to choose to raise my hand because I'm going to assume that more people than just me are going to. As a wolf, I didn't want to be investigated before anyone else. Even so, I raised my hand. Not raising it might be seen as asking that I might not be investigated. A total of 6 people raised their hands. Kanzo-san, Kiyonosuke-shi, Yasunaka-kun, Mamiya, Yoshigitsu, and me. Upon seeing who raised their hands, I instantly understood the nature of the trap. Those who wanted to have a voice in the feast simply had to raise their hands here. Being a proven human was necessary if you wanted to have influence and a voice here. The feast was a game of politics disguised as a game of logic. Since the murderers couldn't be scientifically investigated, you had to present possible suspects purely on circumstantial evidence. However, whether the others believed that or not was up for them to decide. And since circumstantial evidence, no matter how much of it remained circumstantial, it was entirely possible to make a fool of yourself by treating it like direct proof. There was also the fear of death, as well as religious faith. Not many people were capable of deciding everything for themselves in this situation. Those who didn't have confidence in their own decisions left the choice to others, specifically the popular, capable leaders. They were the ones who didn't raise their hands. They were too slow to realize how to react to this because they needed explanations and guidance from their leaders. Those who wanted to be leaders, on the other hand, were constantly waiting for opportunities to consolidate power by proving themselves right.
Wait, what are you getting at? Imagine that we all agreed that the snake would investigate you today, and tomorrow we would ask them to reveal themselves if they found a wolf. If they don't reveal themselves, it would mean you are safe. You wouldn't be needlessly suspected. Oh, I get it.
The snake found a human today, too. But until they reveal themselves, that won't be of any use to us.
I approve of this too.
Then please investigate me as well.
Can you investigate me too? I would like that too.
Me too.
Everyone else now raise their hands. Now you're diluting the pool and making it useless.
Ba?
Besides the monkeys, the ones who weren't raising their hands either didn't understand the situation at all or missed the right time to hide their hope that they wouldn't be investigated. We didn't have any of those. Both Haru-chan and Kaori-san knew that what they had to do. However, my only option in this situation was to raise my hand at the first opportunity. I'd already done something to assert my wish to take political lead. Besides that, I was a newbie who no one trusted, so I was a likely lynch target. Everyone probably assumed that I knew my situation. That was why I had put myself ahead before anyone else. Otherwise, it would have seemed extremely unlikely that I was a wolf. Hashimoto-san slowly looked at everyone. He stopped the moment his gaze was directed at me. It wasn't stern or cold, it was calm and gentle as always. But I couldn't help sensing a powerful will behind it. The will of a cameraman, an observer, who wanted to know the true nature of his subject. This wasn't a battlefield, the wilderness, or some restaurant selling unusual cuisine. But he was, as always, remaining an observer. He stayed at an appropriate distance, blended in with his environment, and focused solely on observation. And if he noticed something crucial, he would simply call it out. It wouldn't be that his words would prompt some other event. His attack would be over the moment he spoke. That was just how precise his observations were. Was I being paranoid? No. He was the real deal. A true threat to me. He tested me just now. Suspected me. In that case, what came next would be, sorry about that. Please put your hands down now. Of course you would raise your hands. If you have nothing to hide, you would obviously want to be investigated and prove your innocence.
So, who do we investigate?
Personally, I would be more at ease if you were first. The outsiders are easy to suspect after all. That's just what I want. Otherwise, what about Fusashi-kun? He seems pretty smart, so it'd be good to know if he's human, right?
I actually had to avoid being investigated by the snake.
Well, I see. That would mean that he wouldn't be an option for today's lynching? Yes. If I wasn't a wolf, this would be nothing but a kindness from a fellow outsider. I wasn't certain if he was doing this on purpose. However, I was certain of one thing. Yudai Hashimoto was my enemy. The most formidable among everyone here, in fact. All that hard work to save him, and now I had to kill him. But I had to do it to survive. I wish I could say that's a good idea, but there's someone who should be investigated before me. Oh? And who would that be? Takumi-san. This was how I'd handle it. It was a setup for a future attack. Takumi-san will continue to be an important figure for the entire feast. It will be harder for everyone to decide on what to do if we don't know whether he's human or a wolf.
Well, he's not wrong. The outspoken ones often stand out, or draw suspicion.
In terms of importance, Takumi-san is roughly on the same level as Kanzo Makishima. I do want to feel secure, but I don't want to be criticized for prioritizing myself over the group as a whole. I don't mind if you're going to investigate me regardless. Do what I say. Or if I seem suspicious to you right now, you can even vote for me. I don't mind getting hanged for your sake of the victory. I prepared for that possibility last night. Kame-san displayed impressive courage in what she did, and I would like to follow her example, even if I wouldn't be nearly as cool.
Haruki-sama.
What do you think, Bochi?
Takumi ni, huh? Well, he's not wrong. Hey, can we just not hang him? I also don't think he's a wolf.
That went well. Haru-chan was kind of overdoing it, but as long as she didn't take it any further, it'll be consistent with her act so far. I see. Then let's have the snake investigate Takumi Mura-san. Any objections? Silence. Are you okay with it yourself? Yeah, I don't mind. And it's decided. He couldn't push it any further. Now it was time to vote. What a waste of time. You and Matsu were voting.
Yes, I shall write them down.
We continued talking for a short while after that, but it was mostly pointless chatter about what we should do and if anyone had any ideas.
Hey, can't we find out who the wolves are by setting up some cameras?
If you say that here, the wolves will hear too. It'll be pointless.
Oh, right.
Haru-chan did as I told her, displaying dedication towards contributing to the feast. A decent amount of time had passed since we started the feast, and it'd probably end right before the evening. Takumi-san was silent. He seemed against hanging people on a whim at first, but something had changed him somehow. Kemi was like a fellow pillar of the community, so it must have hit him pretty hard. At this point, the only one clearly opposed to the vote was Mamiya-san, but even then, she only had a hand in her forehead. And so, the vote began. You first, old guy. You listening?
You!
Me?
Like a demon. Scary, scary.
Whatever. No man Kanzo, your turn. One for Yasu. Did I push things too far? Is it that weird to be opposed to the lynching? You got a good head. Could be just an act. Yasu ain't your enemy, old man. Can't trust that without reason. Takumi, it's fine. Move on.
I wonder if Takumi is the snake and he looked at Yasu right away.
Then, Ba-chan, your turn.
What a burden. One for the journalist. Wait, never done anything suspicious? Hashimoto-san is a monkey, but I don't know about you.
Calm down, Kiyu-chan.
I'm fine. I should have seen this coming. Just surprised.
My turn. One for the old wolf guy. I don't want to say this, but if you're just going to say random stuff even in this situation, you're a nuisance to all of us.
Ooh! You suspected something else, right? You sure, huh?
I don't know what you're talking about. Kaori-san, you're next.
Nasunaga, what do you think?
Could I say who I'll vote for before it's my turn? It ain't a problem. Well, I can't vote with certainty at this point. With that in mind, I can only pick someone who doesn't contribute to the feast. So don't just follow me without thinking.
Just say it.
I'm voting for the old wolf band, but Mom, I want you to decide for yourself how to vote.
Okay, so I will. One for Rikaku Uematsu. I do not mind, but may I have a reason?
I have a problem with how you presented Kemi-san's death. After all, it's possible that she was a wolf, right?
Of all people, she was the one to say that? Then again, I was actually planning to mention it too. That was a smart move. What do you mean?
I'm saying that it could have been a fight between wolves. Maybe they argued about whether they'd actually kill or not.
Wow, it was almost as if she was there herself. Kazushi was nodding. After all, in the feast, it was common sense that humans weren't the only ones who could die at night. By creating the possibility that Kemi was a wolf, we would mess up their assumptions about how many wolves there were left.
Maybe Kemi-chan killed herself because she didn't want to kill. Wait, would that really count as a murder for the night?
We actually can't be sure, but it's entirely possible that death due to discord between wolves counts.
They then left the corpse there and the beast or something or else came and made a mess of it, like Fusashi-san suggested? In that situation, any capable wolf would want to insist that Kemi-chan was human, right?
She said that while looking at Rikaku-san, who praised Kemi-chan's actions on the basis that she was a human. But,
No, I simply wanted to
beautify Kemi-chan's actions? Fully aware that my comment was unnecessary, I took the stage. Suicide is sad no matter what. It's hard for everyone left behind. But if you look at it in a positive way, we can stay positive too. I imagine that Rikaku-san was just showing consideration for us all. I took her side this time. She was an important person with special powers, so it was better for her to die later. I couldn't deny that a part of me didn't want to kill her, but I ignored it. After all, following the betrayal, the only one suffering would be me. Right now, the important thing was to pretend to be a human fighting the good fight against the wolves. Kaori-san was a wolf, and that would probably be outed eventually. I had to make sure I wouldn't be suspected based on acting in support of her beforehand.
I did think that, but most of all, I simply thought that Sarazawa-san would display amazing bravery in trying to protect us.
I didn't doubt that. Rikaku-san might have been more traditional than anyone else in Fujiyoshi, but her heart remained good-natured. Alright, I'll let the rest decide for themselves. You're next, Kyo.
One for Haruki Fusashi.
Just like last time, he voted for me on the first day. Can I have a reason?
Didn't you say it yourself? I knew I'd vote for you the moment you took the initiative, but refused to be investigated by the snake.
I understand, though. I didn't think it should be more selfish there. Like I said, I'm voting for the old wolf guy. He was the first one to get 2 votes. Chikamochi, you're next.
Hassan, I guess?
Why?
He's acting too serious. What do you mean? Nothing. Really, Hassan's usually more relaxed, that's all.
The scary thing was that such random thoughts of his often hit the mark. Yoshi, who are you voting for?
Yui Matsu. My reason that I think the hair's got a point. You should think for yourself, too. I did, and I'm sticking to what I said. I don't like how a village head's using one of us deaths to her advantage.
Haru, you're next.
I'll vote for Uematsu-san too. Why must a woman who grieved for your loss be suspected so much? Is this how you repay her? Shut up! Let's just get this over with, Takumi-ni.
You're next, Rikaku Uematsu.
One for Kaori Orbi-sama. Retaliation, I suppose? Yes. I know I am human, and I find your reasoning unjust.
You done? You're next, Miko.
Fusiyaki-san.
What? You mean Fusashi? Why him?
Everyone's bad, but there's an order.
Huh? What's she saying?
I do not know either.
Wait. Could it be that she was...
Everyone needs to, something. It's, hang.
Miko was the badger. Crap. I couldn't use her no matter how hard I thought about it. Hell, she could totally give it away and ruin us. Oh well. Next. Fusashi? Alright. Right now I had 3 votes, as did Rikaku-san. The wolf guy had 2, while Takumi-san, Kaori, Yasunaga, and Mamiya had 1 each. To survive, I had to vote for Rikaku-san or the old wolf guy, and my vote would affect those of the remaining 2, the journos. If they both voted for me, it'd be game over. But if I was right about the nature of Hashimoto-san's actions, he was trying to decide whether I was clean or not. And if he decided that I wasn't, he would have surely mentioned it before the vote began. It was possible that he would vote for someone else. I had no idea if Mamiya-san would follow his vote,
But even if she didn't, it wasn't likely she would vote for me. Basically, if I voted for Rikako-san, she would get 4 votes and most likely be lynched. And if I voted for the old wolf guy, he would have 3 votes, and depending on who the journalists voted for, I could end up the final vote. None of the ones with just 1 vote were particularly suspicious, so it was best to just disregard them altogether. I had to vote between Rikako-san and the old wolf guy. But honestly, I wasn't much of a choice. Kaori-san's words about Rikako-san relayed a decent amount on the assumption that the village heads were anti-Yasumizu, but that wasn't very credible. It would be strange for me to base my decision on that. We already had Haru-chan agree with Kaori-san's words. She didn't even give her own reason. I didn't want to be considered an ally of those who'd given up on thinking for themselves. Now, all that mattered was who the remaining 2 would vote for. This could lend another final vote, but I think about it then. I'm voting for the old wolf guy. Why? I had to say something justified and useful to the humans. You're all well aware of how he behaves, but I think it's all an act. We're surprised, everyone. Why would you believe that? Naturally, I couldn't say that I'd seen him make a decent play when he was a badger. I don't believe that a senile man could survive multiple feasts like this one. He's sometimes unresponsive and doesn't say a word at the very end, but when asked directly, he tends to answer immediately. When you look at it like that, he might just be ignoring or dancing around questions that are bad for him. It's a clever strategy. Wait a second. I voted for him myself, but don't you think you're overthinking it? Also, if that were true, don't you think he'd have avoided being in this dangerous situation? I think he might know a loophole. A loophole that doesn't kill you? I can't say for certain, but from what little I've seen, the place he sleeps at is basically a dilapidated wreck. I hadn't seen it this time around, actually, but no one would find my claim fishy. I didn't even look like it was qualified as shelter, yet he's alive. Now that you mention it, Kanzo Makishima-san, has he ever survived things he didn't seem capable of surviving?
Can't say if he did or didn't, but I don't trust him. Guy's been a freak for as long as I've known him.
He decided to ignore it. Okay, so my guess is the old wolf guy. So in the last purge, Haru witnessed it, and she seemingly has a secondary personality, and she's able to tell me, oh, how many times have you looped? So if we're going to take this in full fashion, if Haru-chan looped last time, I'm looping this time, maybe the old wolf man looped the first time, and possibly he's looped so much he doesn't remember what goddamn timeline he's in. And that's why every single time where we vote to hang him, he goes off and says, "Can I prepare my things?" I swear he must have, like, he either has, as our main character just said, so much experience that he knows a loophole to not get murdered, or maybe he also has just like a lot of documentation, because the last time this happened, him and Mochi were murdered, like just flat out killed. So, and the other time where he wanted to gather his effects, the old man Kanzo just flat out said, "Nope, I'm not taking any of your shit. I'm killing you right the fuck now." So I really think the old man definitely has like some kind of stockpiled information. And just every single time something gets to him to stop him from divulging it. So there's definitely something here. So my guess is maybe he's looped since his first feast, and he's never really escaped. Like, he could literally be looping from the first feast he did, and this is just a weird timeline where he's just hit multiple in a row and just hasn't died yet to loop, which would be funny as all fuck. He's just like, actually, 80 years ago, I entered my first loop, and I'm just still stuck in it this time. I actually got it right before, and I figured it out, but you know what? I just figured I'd stay here till I'm dead. Once I'm dead, I get to start my own loop over, so who knows? Okay, that would be funny. The entire point of our loop is to fix his and Haru's loop, so that they don't have to deal with their bullshit. Suddenly Haru's the main character, And then we go back, and now suddenly the old man's the main character. Or even worse, he's us. Dun, dun, dun.
Years ago, I was Jinsei.
If you know how to avoid the feast, please do tell us. If you do, I'll retract my vote.
No one escapes the mountain.
He's basically saying he won't cooperate with us no matter what. That's the basis for my vote. Alright, you're next, Mamiya-san.
Can I just not vote? I don't want to be complicit in murder.
We can't have that. We need to know who you doubt and who you support.
Alright, you, Haru Makishima. Huh?
Haru, your reason?
It's nothing major. I just picked the most suspicious one out of the ones who'd be definitely not to be lynched today. I considered voting for Yamiwaka-san at first, but there's no point in such petty revenge. You're not saying that Haru-chan's more suspicious than me? If I have to choose between you, yes. She didn't say why she suspected you and Matsu-san, and her general attitude is strange. There's nothing certain there.
She saw through Haru's hack, huh?
I don't have any preferences here, but I don't want to believe all the wolves are so cunning, cruel, and gutsy. There could be one who's just cowering in fear of any votes that could come their way. It's a genuine issue to consider, and that's why I'm voting for her. Seriously? That's it? That's so cruel. And so is the whole thing you're doing. Please don't make a big deal out of this.
Alright, your last Hashimoto-san. This is difficult. But even so, I will vote for the old wolf fella.
It was settled then.
Can you give us a reason? I believe I understand what kind of people you are now. And I believe nominating you at this point in time would be strange. That's it, really? A simple reason. I see.
Wait, what? What does he mean by that? I believe I understand what kind of people you are now. Sure. So he's saying he thinks he understands what our personalities are like. And I believe nominating you at this point would be strange. So he either means that literally I believe nominating Takumi is strange. You could, however, be any of us, assumably me. And I believe nominating you at this point. It seems like he knows something, but in fact, he could even be the fucking snake. Already investigated me, know I'm a wolf, and be like, I could out you as a wolf, but I don't want to yet. That could be interesting. I can't really predict who might have what role, but so I can't predict who the wolves might be since I am the wolf, and we all know that answer. So maybe I can predict who has what. I'm gonna say he has the snake, and he already knows. We already know the monkeys, so that doesn't matter. Who could be the raven, and who could be the spider? Or the crow, and who could be the spider? That I've got no clue. They could be fucking anyone. I'll say crow, and the spider is... Yoshigetsu. I don't know.
I see. Alright then.
That gives him 4 votes. That gives him 4 votes. It's decided.
Bring the rope.
Anytime.
Shut it.
I've seen this before. Kanzo-san punched the old wolf guy, shocking some people. In the end, upon getting... Okay, so this is the time we need to investigate the old wolf guy's shack. We need to investigate this. This is one of those open-ended things we just need to fucking do by this point. In the end, upon getting the rope, Kanzo-san tied him up and went to hang him on the pine all by himself.
I'll hang him myself. You go back. Oh man, what's gotten into you?
The conditions for it were different, but this event unfolded the exact same way as last time. It was just my assumption. But I believe that Kanzo-san had some sort of unfinished business with the old wolf guy. Perhaps he too suspected that the old wolf man would try something strange here.
The first time he said he needed time, everyone accepted it. And soon, he and Mochi, who accompanied him, were found dead outside. Was he planning to do something before his execution? That something led to murders, and made Kanzo-san forcefully drag him to the tree. Because Kanzo said he was in 2 different ones before. So assumably the old wolf guy was there for 2 as well. So maybe Kanzo knows, oh yeah, we tried this one time and he's fucking around. It seemed significant to me. Dragging to my feet, in the line heading back to the dining hall, I thought about the old wolf guy. Was there some sort of way to make him talk? Maybe I could loop back and... No, he probably wouldn't react to anything I said. For now, I just had to be glad that I survived. Investigate his shack. Investigate his shack. Investigate his shack. Investigate his shack. Come on, motherfuckers. I couldn't show it, of course, but there were any holes in anything I'd said today. I could prove trouble further down the line. Even so, I cast aside my doubts and taken a step forward. I could win this. I would win this as a wolf. Like last time, we ended up spending an awkward evening in the dining hall. Tae-san insisted that something bad could have happened in the mist again, so she told us to stay.
Ooh. That's one thing I haven't thought of. Or I guess maybe the game hasn't said it out loud either. What if Kanzo and the old wolf man were wolves at some point? Which is why they're the only 2 survivors. They could just be lying. And that's maybe why Kanzo is so insistent on just hanging people. He knows, since his experience as a wolf, that they will just kill. And maybe even he didn't want to kill at first, but was coerced into doing it maybe, which is why he thought maybe the wolves wouldn't this time. Why he was willing to go along with it? Maybe he was a wolf at some point, along with the old wolf man, which is why he wanted to kill the old wolf man this time. He didn't want any bullshit happening. Maybe. Tae-san insisted that something could happen in the mist again, so she told us to stay inside. After that, Kanzo-san and Takumi-san came back. The former ignored all warnings and left again, but everyone else stayed inside. Takumi-san said that he didn't see Kanzo-san kill the old wolf guy, just what was happening between them. What if he didn't actually kill him? Was there some secret agreement between the locals where they agreed that the old wolf guy had to live? Was someone hiding him somewhere? No, that couldn't be it. He definitely died the first time. I just didn't get it. Soon enough, we started making dinner. I had to check for poison again, clean up, and then we all had to go back to our rooms.
Another one of us might be gone tomorrow. Be prepared for that at least.
After a short silence, everyone gave each other some brief goodbyes and began their own way.
Oh, one last thing.
Hashimoto-san stopped them.
I advise against trying to stay outside and have secret meetings. Unlike during the day, we're all spread out. It's hard to tell if someone's nearby.
That how it is? Big guy's right. Just head back.
Crap. I hope to get a chance to eavesdrop. That meant that the secret chat he'd have at noon had only happened because he figured out the wolves couldn't do much during the day. However, it didn't mean that Hashimoto-san had anything that concrete. In fact, he would probably deal with potential eavesdroppers by not saying anything important if he met with someone privately. I was more cautious about Takumi-san, or curious about Takumi-san. The exchange between him and Yasunaga-kun might have been extremely important. What? Late at night, we passed out, then put on the wolf outfits, passed through the beast-filled mist, and arrived at the dining hall again. My injury had healed shockingly well. Healing her power sure was something. I had to remove the taping to get in the wolf costume, though. That aside, that's not what we agreed. There was a strange tension between the 3 monsters here. But it's really not the right time to kill Yasunaga-kun or Yoshikitsu. But if we don't kill, I know. I don't mean to ignore your wish. It's just that... Who do we kill then? There's 2 candidates. Takumi Muro and Yudai Hashimoto. Because they're good at controlling the conversation? Because they're good at controlling the conversation? Yes. Especially Hashimoto-san. He's doing an amazing job convincing everyone to handle this rationally.
Also, he's a lot smarter and sharper than he looks. Let your guard down and he'll instantly expose us all. I told him about how dangerous he was, citing the secret chat thing in the morning and the trick question during the feast.
You sure you're not overthinking it? And why Takumi?
He might be the snake.
Huh?
I was already suspicious yesterday, but now I'm almost certain. Yesterday, he asked whether anyone would volunteer to be lynched. He said he couldn't die yet. I thought a lot about it, and the yet part really bothered me. Couldn't die on his own would have seemed natural. Also, he met with Yasunaga-kun secretly today. At first I thought he wanted to cheer him up, since Kemi was dead and all. But looking at how they behaved, it seems that they met up and talked about the feast.
That seems possible. It was a bit strange how we just called Yasunaga-kun to talk, but what about it?
He's a pretty open guy, isn't he? Not the type of guy to hold the secret meetings, right? He probably knows full well that you can't keep any secrets here in Yasumizu.
And
he still took Yasunaga-kun to meet in secret. That requires a lot of trust, if you ask me. That's why I think that he's the snake, and that he investigated Yasunaga-kun yesterday. Another thing, he didn't raise his hand when we volunteered to be investigated by the snake.
oh, that was okay, right? I didn't raise it first.
It's fine, you raise later, and that's natural. However, considering his position, he should have raised his hand and agreed to be investigated before anyone else. He didn't do it because he's a snake and already figured that raising his hand would have been pointless. I just think he wasn't paying enough attention to act like a normal human rather than a snake. That was also why he was slow to react on the idea that we should investigate him, yet he accepted it without any argument.
I guess so. It doesn't look like his words were a bit strange back then. I understand you're worried, but why today? Takumi-san won't investigate himself, but there's no guarantee it would be one of us, right?
That was a naive thing to say. I don't really trust myself. If he's a snake, and if he was suspicious of me to begin with, my words might have made him even more suspicious.
But if your theory is true, it's possible that Takumi-san told Yasunaga-kun that he's the snake, right?
That's possible.
Then we should get rid of him, shouldn't we?
We should, within the next few nights.
Very well. As long as we go for Yasunaga-kun tomorrow, I'll let you pick today's victim.
I really don't care which.
Thank you. However, if we killed one, we couldn't go for the other one for a while. Today's choice was bound to greatly affect what happened next. Now, which one?
Okay. So, there is a high likelihood that Takumi investigates me next. However, the game has kind of thrown me a billion amounts of evidence to say kill Takumi. And I, in my own judgment, said maybe it was Hashimoto because he said it wasn't time for me to expose you yet. And I don't think he was talking to Takumi. He might have been. He might have been saying that because Takumi's a snake. But I'm going to say we go for Hashimoto. Even if I die, oh well, we fucking do a loop.
My suspicions of Takumi-san being the snake were nothing more than that. Unlike detective novels, people didn't always act accordingly to logic. It was risky to take a web of strange words and not look at them in black and white. But I was almost certain Hashimoto-san was dangerous. He had to be eliminated. I'll kill Hashimoto-san.
I understand. However...
Yes, we will kill Yasunaga-kun tomorrow, but it'll be a different story if we discover the snake.
That's not good. If I don't kill Yasunaga-kun, for sure tomorrow I'll...
Don't take the feast of the Yomi Purge lightly. It's not easy to win with each round. You may be satisfied focusing on your sons, but Haruchan and I can't do that. Fulfilling Great Lord Shinai's order, resolving this incident internally, and making sure at least Haruchan escapes. That is my responsibility. We can't rely on a simple suicide attack.
Alright. Then if we don't kill one of them tomorrow night, I will kill my sons during the day. Kaori-san, you can't do that. I won't cause either of you trouble. And if I kill them both and I am hanged that day, I will have fulfilled my duty, correct?
First, there was no guarantee she could successfully kill both, and if she did, that didn't mean the humans would simply kill Kaori-san. That had happened in the previous loop, but that was a hopeless feast led by Kiyanosuke-shi and the wolf Yasunaga-kun. In a feast as calm and collected as this one, they'd probably tie Kaori-san up and let the corruption have her while they looked for the other wolves. Knowing Hashimoto-san, he could torture Kaori-san and try to get the identities out of the other wolves out of her. But I wouldn't explain that. I mean, if we kill Hashimoto-san, then he can't torture her to get the information. I can't make promises anymore, but I'll do everything in my power to try and kill Yasunagi-kun tomorrow night. Can you take that as a heartfelt sincerity?
Kaori-san, you can't be selfish either. Everyone will die when things go well, so you need to think about ensuring things go that way. It's hard. I just want this life of mine to be over. Kaori-san, I'm sorry, I went too far.
Haru-chan, look after Kaori-san.
What are you doing?
I'll take care of it myself.
All right.
This was the most humane and ethical choice I could imagine. I wouldn't let the unfortunate mother and girl dirty their hands and push them even further into a corner. Justification was a wonderful thing. It could apparently drive people to easily commit acts that would be insane otherwise. The door to the hut was surprisingly unlocked, so I went in and committed the murder with shocking ease. I used a nearby farming tool as my weapon. I severed the big man's head from his torso and chopped him up into bits to make the work easier for the cleanup crew the next morning. Knowing Hashimoto-san, he may have left a dying message, so I thoroughly destroyed his body just to be safe. It felt like I'd slain an evil troll. I'd done the deed in under an hour, and probably easier than it would have been if the three of us had done this together. As suspected, I found a camera, so I smashed it to pieces and buried it in the massive corpse. I made sure to destroy it at an angle that would destroy the memory card, too, in a way that made it look natural. After all, I didn't want people pointing fingers at city dwellers tomorrow for having clearly gone out of the way to destroy it. Good. I was calm. I told the others it was all over, and then we parted for the day.
Wait!
Haru-chan called me near the end of our trip back to our homes.
Sorry for leaving it all to you today.
Huh? I wanted to apologize for leaving Kaori-san entirely to you.
Killing is harder, isn't it?
It was easier than you think. It might be best if I do it all the brutalization starting tomorrow, too. I get the feeling Kaori-san will go completely insane if she kills her sons with her own hands.
You do know that means she might try to kill you then?
It's definitely possible.
Ha! What a handful.
Nah. I'd say you're pretty formidable yourself.
Sorry?
No, don't be. You're still a big help in keeping Kaori-san in order.
It's the least I can do. I'll come aid with the killing tomorrow if I can.
Like I said,
I just don't want to leave it to all someone playing the good guy like you.
Wow. You actually said it. Okay. I'll be counting on you tomorrow. Oh, but don't go overboard during the day, alright?
Yep, I'll be just the same old dumb cowardly teen rebel as always.
Wait. You mean that's all an act normally?
No, but any idiot's capable of at least that much introspection. Good night.
Good night. When I called her formidable, I was referring to back then. Yes, back in that time when she instantly killed me for trying to abandon my role as a wolf. Naturally, I'd assume she'd just give me a confused look and say it was nothing and that it'd be the end of that. I wonder what exactly she was apologizing for. It bugged me, but I returned to the prefab, took off the outfit, and got changed. I'd learned yesterday that it was best to wear the costume with little clothing, so it was a simple task. The blood-stained wolf outfit would be gone come tomorrow morning. I lay down, and slumber soon took me away. The next morning, as I expected, the outfit had vanished. As I expected, there was a big fuss over Hashimoto-san's body. But what I didn't expect was that Takumi-san would beat the crap out of me first thing in the morning. This bastard's a wolf! Takumi Muro was the snake. Since he knew I was part of the gang that killed Hashimoto-san, he didn't hesitate to use full force on me. The feast was over in a flash. Everyone voted to lynch me. I wasn't even allowed to vote according to my fate. Okay, so the game heavily hinted at taking out Muro, and it wasn't just a fake out. It really wanted me to die. Okay. Yeah, okay. No hidden corner needed. All right.
I thought it was suspicious the game was really trying to get me to vote for him, but it was just giving me the best information. Okay. So, darkness, who to brutalize, Skip, and Takumi. Personally, I found Hashimoto-san to be the biggest threat, but I didn't see any openings or weakness on him. However, I knew full well just how influential Takumi-san was. Though he sometimes lacked confidence. So when Hashimoto said, I now understand you, there's no need to out you yet, he meant there's no need to out Takumi as a snake. Okay. Though he was sometimes lacked confidence, once he found some, he couldn't kill off the wolves through his initiative and popularity alone. Then there was the fact that he might be the snake. I really couldn't ignore him. We'll kill Takumi-san.
Very well, but yes, we'll go for Yasunaga-kun. What? Yasunaga will probably be in the state of shock again tomorrow, so you'd be best to console him. We need to prevent him from declaring that Takumi-san told him he was a snake and that he confirmed that Yasunaga-kun was a human. With Takumi-san dead. Okay, so this works well. If we think that Takumi was a snake, we claim that I'm the snake. Then what's his name tries to say, no, he's not, Takumi was. The next night we kill him. Or if he doesn't say anything out loud, we kill him anyway, and now no one knows, and everyone thinks I'm the snake. Okay. With Takumi-san dead, most would find his words trustworthy. Pretending to be the snake would become really difficult then, understand? I do, but how do I even do that? Honestly, I don't think I can pull something like that off.
Well,
I'll do it. I'll just have to make sure Yasunaga doesn't talk about it about that in or outside the feast, right?
yes. Basically, can you do that?
I'm his mother. No one would suspect this if we have a talk as family. There's also the fact that, well, Takumi-san isn't a stranger to me. And if he tells me that Takumi-san is a snake, I will tell them that I suspect Kanzo-san. I'll say that he killed the snake because he was afraid of being investigated. It's possible that Kanzo-san realized that Takumi-san was, right?
Yes. Now that you mention it, he acted weird in front of everyone there.
Exactly. I'll also tell him to keep quiet about it because he could be next.
I might have severely underestimated her. I'd assumed she was a timid person without much of her own opinion and anything else, but oh, was I wrong. I didn't know whether she was holding back or just using her imagination and proactiveness in a negative way. But she was really dependable in a situation like this. Please be saying things only wolves can know or claim that Takumi-san is the snake before he does. Oh, sorry. Please avoid saying things that only wolves can know or claim that Takumi-san is the snake before he does. It wouldn't be good for us if Yasunaga-kun starts to suspect you.
Oh, but suspicion is no problem. He will die tomorrow night after all.
I had to hold back from cursing at her. The mother was intending to kill her own child, and it made me feel unpleasant. That was the right thing to feel, wasn't it?
Then I won't have to do anything, right?
Yeah, for now. Her sudden grin was so out of nowhere. I had no idea what to make of it, and neither did Kaori-san. Takumi-san's place was close to the Also, I think it's funny if as we suggested that Miko was the badger who's trying to help us, it would be funny because back in one of the earlier games, I did mention that I played the game this is based off of with real people, and the first person who had the badger's role didn't understand the role and outed the wolf. So thinking that Miko might do that too is honestly not out of reality. It's not that out of reality because sometimes the badger just doesn't understand what the fuck they're doing and outs the wolf. That was a good run. Anyway, Takumi-san's place was close to the plaza. There was nothing out of the ordinary around it. This meant this would be our first real murder. Our first kill as wolves. Was I really going to do this? Would the door really open? Would I really open it and carry out the deed? More nervous than I anticipated, I put my hand in the door. Click. I felt it unlock. Seriously? Let me check something.
Hey!
I ran around checking several houses. The detached dwellings where Yoshigitsu-kun lived, Miko's place, and Kanzo-san's place, Rikako-san's place, all of them were locked. Apparently, you can only unlock the first door you touch. It's best not to touch the knobs without thinking. I see. So we got no choice but to kill Takumi? Exactly. I'm opening it. Okay, so once again, we go back to, is this mystical or mundane? If it's mystical, then magic, sure, whatever, it explains it. If it's mundane, that means each of these locks are electronically locked and can be swapped open or shut, assumably by a click of a button. Unless they, like, because it would be, I mean, unless they were listening to us the entire time because there's something in the costumes we're wearing, and whoever is around unlocks the door to the person's name we mentioned. But what if we try to fake them out? What if we lie about who we're going for, go for the correct person, and then the door doesn't open? Interesting, maybe. I still think it's mundane, but with a few mystic additions. Anyway, exactly, I'm opening it. This would be my first time here since I investigated his corpse during the first loop. It was a simple room. There was a futon in the middle and his large body was right there. He was sleeping. Defenseless. He wouldn't wake up, right? Hey, how do we kill him? I actually was curious if we were going to be provided some means of killing. The murders I'd known so far had been outside the norm, but they weren't something beyond human ability. But I also thought that they'd been a bit excessive, assuming their sole purpose was murder. I still don't know if there was something that compelled them to do that, but apparently you had to come up with your own method of murder. Let's use something here. Thankfully, we had lots of options. There are various old farming tools nearby. The edged ones, sickle, hoe, etc., look extremely fitting for the purpose. There was even an axe. It would make it easy, really. An axe could destroy a human body in no time. I'll ask, just in case. Either of you want to do it? Alright, I'll do it. I raised the axe overhead and hesitated. This memory, the fact that I committed murder, would probably stay with me even if I looped. I'd keep this moment, this feeling, until the day I died. That was hardly a problem. Instantly. Oh no, this is gonna haunt me for the rest of my days. I don't give a fuck. My aim was true when the axe sunk into Takumi's neck. Blood burst out of the wound and started bubbling out ceaselessly. That was definitely lethal. However, the blade wasn't too wide or large. It wasn't a broad axe or anything. Thus, I swung it down again. And again. And again. His head left his body before the 10th swing. I wonder if there's something that they're doing as to make us more bloodthirsty. I mean, we have shown that our guy is bloodthirsty when he was like, yeah, let's just chop off everyone's limbs. So maybe. There's also no guarantee that we didn't do this loop before we finished the other loop. No, I guess there is a guarantee because we didn't get the key until now. I was going to say maybe we had already killed people as the wolf loop, which is why we're so callous in other loops. I took his head in hand. His eyes were wide open. His expression was full of anguish. At this point, I wasn't sure if he'd been completely unconscious. I nonchalantly showed it to the two behind me. Applause. They actually applauded me. Well done. Good job. Pure joy and words of praise. My earlier sense of disgust returned. Why? Why did these people suddenly cease having a conscience the moment they became wolves? This was wrong. They were supposed to show disgust. They needed to. If they didn't, to whose standards was I supposed to adjust my conscience? Sense of right and wrong and good and evil. I tossed the head on the floor. Then held it in place with my foot. Cut it with the axe over and over. Struck it over and over. It was almost completely unrecognizable now. I kicked away the damaged skull, still covered in fresh flesh and hair in places. It was heavy, so my leg hurt and I left a pool of blood where it rolled. Before even looking at it, I took a random farming tool and thrust it into his torso. I then took another tool and sank it into his shoulder. Okay, so yeah, we're getting slowly more and more depraved as we do this. Considering they know what door we're unlocking, once again, it definitely feels like there's something in here fucking with us. I mean, it could just be magic, but I don't think so. I opened his stomach. Yep. Hey, I said at the beginning of the stream, don't do that. Just don't cut open the stomach. I cut up his limbs. That's enough. Stop. By the time someone stopped me, the corpse was in such a state that you'd think the corruption was responsible for it. You didn't have to go this far, did you? Not even those words were out of disgust or guilt. They simply thought it was a waste of time. Let's go. Still pissed, I went to the exit, not even looking back at them. You need to cleanse. I felt some mortar hit my back, but I was too pissed to even react before leaving. Okay, so we're becoming angry while doing this then. So something's causing us to feel anger while we do this. Don't know if that's anger because we're actually doing it, or maybe there's something that's making us feel anger, which lets us more easily do the deeds. Anyway, I took off the bloody wolf outfit and just threw it on the floor. I learned yesterday that it was best to wear the costume without any upper clothing, so I was able to relax after just wiping off the sweat and changing my underwear. The room began to reek of blood, but Great Lord Shania would probably clean all this up anyway. Shit. I was pissed. Even though I knew they'd lose their sense of guilt, I was still pissed. Shit. I just wanted to sleep. But I couldn't really do that with someone knocking on my door. Who could it be? Kaori-san? Haru-chan? Shania himself? It was still late at night, so I couldn't be anyone else from the village. Police then? That'd be a laugh. I ignored it, though. I was too pissed. More knocking. More ignoring. My. Oh my. You certainly are easily offended, city dweller. Now that I couldn't ignore. I jumped up and leapt to the door so quickly I almost tripped. This was the mystery surrounding Haru-chan. The brutalization had distracted me from my primary goal here. I hadn't expected her to come to me. Upon opening the door, I saw something I really didn't expect. This was... The wolves cometh to the smell of Yomi. Cleanse, shelter, and dream. Okay, so this is the second time we've seen this figure. The way the hair is parted, but also, I mean, I guess you could say the bandages wrapped around the torso could be binding the breasts smaller. But is it Haru? Or is it like Mochi or something like that? Who else would be this petite, though? I mean, he said Haru, like it's her voice. So I guess the first time she showed up, it was also Haru again. I mean, they did say she's possessed by a wolf. Daughter of Fujiyoshi. No, it is Haru. Okay, yeah. Now that it's closer up, I can see the hair. That was Haru-chan. Now that I got a better look, the physique, hairdo, and even the voice were similar. But why would she wear that? No, forget that. How did she make it all the way here without the wolf golf outfit? No need to be surprised. These are my kin. Consider them an extension of me. Behind her, I felt the beasts, closer than at any point today or yesterday. No, I could actually see them. Countless eyes glowed in the darkness nearby. She gently extended her hand. A few of them looked at her, and a few even came close. The weak light from outside the prefab lit them up. Dogs. They really were dogs. Some were white, Some brown, some had long ears, some didn't have a tail. It was a pack of countless feral-looking mid-sized dogs. All of them had blood and filth on them, as well as severe wounds here and there. Their clenched teeth, furrowed noses, and widened eyes spoke volumes of the rage and perhaps even hatred within them. The girl, clad in aged cloth, didn't seem to care, standing still even as they surrounded her. Not only that, but she reached out to pet one of them. So the answer to if you can pet the dog in this game, the answer is it's not a game. Get fucked. Are you one of these 3 gods? Oh yes, apologies. That did not seem obvious before. As you can see, I am lonely, powerless god who cannot do much beyond playing with beasts. Please come in. My, oh my. Oh shit. My, oh my. Do you not think it's dangerous to invite a god in your home? What if I were to spirit you away? Sorry, but I don't understand your rules. Reasonable. You city dwellers worship a god called science, do you not?
Science isn't a god.
Oh, it is. You do not know? Oh, but wait. You do not believe in anything, do you? I truly, sincerely apologize. Okay, this really was. Should I step outside? No need for that. You cannot leave that place without that filthy costume on you and to all these children. The edge of a territory is a boundary, and talks between men and gods can be had through them.
Okay then.
What are you? I've already answered that, have I not?
A god. A powerless god. That's not enough. The legends don't say anything about... Wait. The badger. For the first time, she simply nodded instead of saying it. It made me uneasy. Do you hate that name?
Not at all. It is not wrong in the least. It is a fitting name for someone wearing the mask of Great Lord Shania and acting as leader of these mutts.
You used to be a different god, right?
This might not sit well with some of you, but legends and myths can change, not just through borrowing aspects from other legends and myths, but also through political events. There was a time when myths and government were completely tied, so myths had to change whether the politics did. If settlements merged, their gods would marry, and gods of places annexed to the wall would become a conqueror's god, God's servant to demons. Or maybe they'd merge separate gods into one. The people shaped them according to the power balances of the day. That was why powerful gods and devils have many other names, forms and incarnations. These are remnants of long-forgotten faiths. Oops. The legends and myths that have lived to this day survived through countless changes. Of course they would have contradictions.
A forgotten god. A mountain god besides Great Lord Shania. With the creation of the Shania faith, she was woven into the servant and left mostly forgotten.
That was the entity possessing her. Well, that is what I am, but I did not come here to speak for myself.
Personally, I had a whole lot of questions, but since I didn't want to make her upset, I let her take the lead. What do you want to know?
Why the rampage?
You don't know?
I understand that you are upset with this girl, but I cannot read any other color you display. If you did not want to kill, you could have stopped after the first hack. If they did not dream it sufficient, you could have handed them the tool. Yet you joylessly cut the large man into pieces.
I needed those 2 to stay normal.
Huh?
I can't be normal unless I'm surrounded by normal people.
As a person,
I lack any kind of real foundation, so I lose myself without some source of normalcy to ground myself within. I don't actually mind losing myself and having to create a new me, but having one forced on me pisses me off.
No real foundation, you say? How curious. And is that not itself your foundation? That is, a man who's frustrated when outdone by others?
Perhaps you're right.
Then why are you afraid of me? Those seized by anger hold neither fear nor reverence, do they not?
I'm scared of things I don't understand.
That does not seem the truth to me. I see how it is. You cannot differentiate between fear and excitement, can you? And you don't like it when others control that, am I correct? We are even now.
She took my displeased expression in silence as a yes and laughed. Can you read minds?
It is little more than a parlor trick to me.
You also read my memories. So you know about my looping?
My oh my! You realize it already. I expected to keep it a secret a bit longer.
In other words, neither you nor Horror Train experience what I do?
Well, that's a good way to look at it. Unfortunately, even I am but a jester dancing atop another's god's palm.
Can you tell me about this god? The one behind it all?
I cannot.
Why?
Because I'm too weak.
If you tell me, I'll turn it all around. I'll even help you regain your former glory.
Know your limits, silly dweller.
I gasped at her sudden intensity.
Allow me to correct you. A powerless god is one that is of no use to mankind, not one incapable of calamities beyond their knowing. I am powerless now, and I have like this adorable maiden, but I used to be more feared than any. You believe you can bring that glory back? Do you believe you would honor me by burning several nearby villages and hanging all of its people? Speaking on this dreary night, it's only meant to ease my ennui. There is nothing to be gained from it. Ennui, I'm pretty sure is sadness, right? Like it's like for depression. Let's see, how is it spelled? Ennui. It's a French word. Ennui, a feeling of listlessness and dissatisfaction arising from lack of occupation or excitement. Yeah, so it's kind of like you're so bored, you're like falling asleep. You're kind of like, I don't know what the fuck yeah, I guess depression would be a good way of saying that, where nothing gives you any satisfaction. So you're just kind of like, really like, why am I here? What the fuck am I doing? It's like going to classic World of Warcraft and trying to pick a character and being like, what the fuck does it matter who I level up? I'm never going to do anything anyway. Fuck it. Let's go back to playing something else. Speaking of this dreary night is only meant to ease my ennui. There is nothing to be gained from it. So this is just a diversion for her.
I couldn't consider it insignificant. I couldn't consider it significant. Was that what she was telling me?
This has grown dull. Keep my words in mind. May we meet again on the following evening.
She turned around and felt the beats rush away. Please wait. Why did you come to me anyway?
Oh, that is something I will gladly reveal. Essentially, this girl is concerned about you.
Haru-chan? She was?
Fusashi-san was so mad. What's gotten into him? As a servant of Great Lord Shinai and one who detests the Mask of Yomi, she was considerate of you, her partner. It's been an hour and 40 minutes. Not that much. Even if you do not understand this, do show care for her. She is powerless as well, so seeing her can be vexing at times.
Does Haru-chan know about you?
Maybe.
So I can't expect you to pass on a message to her?
I am too powerless even for that. I can try to show up in her dreams, though.
Then I'll tell her myself.
Farewell.
One more thing.
What?
You're a cute guy.
Why? Why? Dude. She's a high schooler, dude. Stop it. Bruh.
You're a cute god.
Yeah. I see. You truly are as warped as you claim to be.
With those words as her last, she disappeared into the night.
All right, so that means, remember, she showed up to us in the second loop as well, one time. So that was either the god, as it claims to be here, that was interested in us, or it was actually Haru-chan who was worried about us in that loop, who then made the spirit come to see us that one night. When did that spirit visit us last time? Was it on the same day as this? Like, we saw it in the doorway. When did we see it? That I don't remember. All right, as it begins the next day, I'm going to take a piss, and I'll turn on some lights, and I'll be right back. Was it the first loop? Okay. If it was in the first loop, that means she showed up when she was about to run away then, maybe. And that's when she was concerned for us? Or did she show up after she ran away and we saved her because she was the badger that first time. And if she's possessed by the god of the badger, then that's like spot on. Anyway, I'll be right back. Okay. Back with a drink, everything on, piss taken, good to go.
The next morning came, and as I expected, the wolf outfit and all the blood had vanished. That didn't mean it was all a dream, though. Takumi-san's mutilated corpse was soon discovered, shocking the whole settlement. That was when I noticed that the murder scene was full of wet footprints. They were the same as the ones left by the previous wolves, and now I understood that why they were there. They also wore those wet costumes. They didn't even continue outside the house, though. Apparently, Great Lord Shinai took care of the costumes as well as evidence. What a methodical god. I was probably the only one who could be so clear-headed. Tae-san took this especially hard. She refused food and instead just prayed at the edge of the dining hall. Kanzo-san was looking really weary too. First Kemi, now Takumi-san. He was losing people. He was losing people he depended on one after the other. His reaction was only natural. As you'd expect, Yasunaga-kun had gone pale once more. The person who consoled him the previous day was now gone forever, after all. There was Kaori-san. She looked shaken and had already broken 2 plates. Everyone assumed her state was caused by Takumi-san's death. They were close after all, and everyone was sympathetic. I knew that she was actually just tense because she was planning to trap her sons and kill them, but I didn't say a word, of course. Breakfast was over, and we finished washing the dishes. Kanzo-san prepared to go clean up Takumi-san and... "Yasu, help out," said that, which made a chill go down my spine. I had no idea what kind of info the two would exchange if they had a secret chat.
Okay. Wait, I'll go.
That was why Yoshigitsu-kun's words were a big help.
I'll be more than useful in this hefty, empty husk.
Huh, let's go.
What? Do what you have to Yoshigitsu. Hag, you help the idiot get the point. Come with me, Yasunaga.
It was going great. Yoshigitsu-kun returned from cleaning up, and Kanzo-san went patrolling. But Yasunaga-kun and Kaori-san still hadn't returned. A bit worried, I finished cleaning up and relaxed when...
Haruki-sama, may I have a moment?
Someone called out to me.
It is about Miko.
Oh? That was an issue I nearly forgotten. A short distance from everyone else here, around 10 steps away from Tei-san and her prayers, we started whispering to each other. Is she still being rebellious?
Yes, she needed my help dressing up, but now she does not. It might be a good thing, but...
She ate alone too, didn't she? It was cute though.
Yes, and she always says that Oni-chan and Fushiaki-san should hang.
A small girl basically saying that she wants to murder? What family delinquents does she grow up with?
Delinquents?
Yeah. Oh, we have poorly raised children outside this village too.
Oh my.
Still, what's with her?
I do not know. Actually, I worry that she might be the badger that Hashimoto-san mentioned.
There. She noticed it too. And she probably wasn't alone. Maybe. A human that sides with the wolves. Is that why she wants to hang the humans?
In Kamafujiyoshi, people believe the wolves are good, and that the other guardians have sided with Yomi.
Did someone tell her? Is that why she changed sides?
Maybe. Or maybe you and I did something to get on her bad side.
Huh. Nothing comes to mind. But I think we can just ignore it for now. I doubt that anything she says will affect the other participants.
Can we really be so optimistic? She has a right to vote, just like everyone else in the feast.
Huh. That's not really good. But if you follow the rules, the only way to get rid of her is by hanging.
If that saves us one of the feasts, perhaps I should.
That would be good for us. Please don't. It'll be a waste of a human to vote, and just cruel in general.
I understand. Thank you for showing mercy for her, Haruki-sama.
Rikako-san, why do you care about her so much? She's just a lost child you picked up, isn't she?
Taking in children without a place to go and raising them was one of the roles of the Uematsu.
Really?
Yes, the Uematsu did not care much for lineage and actively accepted orphans and those without a place to go as their own.
I can only assume they needed more bedroom woman servants to fill their evening duties. Rikako-san, you really value tradition, don't you?
Yes, that's what kind of world I grew up in.
This whole area was a separate realm, built around the worship of Great Lord Shinai. From my perspective, she was very unfortunate to have been born here. But perhaps, from her point of view, being a city boy without the perils of faith and tradition to support me was far more unfortunate. I couldn't deny that a world where the way to live and die hadn't changed for centuries would be easy to live in. A well-balanced aquarium didn't need much to stay stable. It just had to continue following an already established process. However, in the real world, closed systems are extremely hard to maintain. Other animals, diseases, lineages, ideals, the system was threatened by countless things. In liberated societies, however, the people had to develop a strong will, with a blend of common sense and individuality, and constantly conflict with others. Not like that couldn't crumble as a result of outside influences either, but there was no denying that it was tougher than a secluded, happy society. Open societies exchange certain happiness for the practical, universal simplicity we call money. That reasoning was probably a bit shaky. Anyway, wait. 1 second. Hold up. In liberated society, however, the people had to develop a strong will with a blend of common sense and individuality and consistency with others. Not like that couldn't crumble as a result of outside influences either, but there was no denying that it was tougher than a secluded, happy society. Open societies exchange certain happiness for the practical, universal simplicity we call money.
I don't... What's the point of this entire... this feels like this doesn't need to be here. In liberated societies, however, the people that had to develop a strong will with a blend of common sense, individuality, and constantly conflict with others. Not like that couldn't crumble as a result of outside influences either, but there was no denying that it was tougher. Is that just a simple money changes people that's in there, or... I mean, if I had to read this charitably, I mean, that's what I would guess. That money changes you. You would normally be a bit more happier when you didn't have to worry about your material needs. But here, your happiness comes from when you have the money to be able to afford your happiness, rather than just you have nothing. And in liberated societies, however, the people had to develop a strong will. Even if you weren't in even if you were in a secluded, happy society, you would still have your common sense and individuality, along with strong wills. Like, people would still have their personalities. Like, personalities just don't go away. Anyway. Alright, I'm nitpicking over something that doesn't fucking matter, but whatever. It just kind of feels like a mess. This settlement, as well as Fujiyoshi, would eventually fall victim to our gang society. Without a single person here, Great Lord Shinai would, just like the Badger, or the nameless mountain god, be forgotten and vanish. The Yurimatsu, her included, would simply vanish faster. The Yurimatsu, her included, would simply vanish faster than the rest. Thus, what I felt for her right now was merely sympathy for something facing its inevitable end. A worthless sentiment you could have about anything. Yeah, some of these phrases maybe sounded better in Japanese, I guess. But some of these phrases are just kind of like, what the fuck are you talking? What are you rambling about? It kind of sounds like they might have had a better meaning in Japanese, and they're just translating it, and the translation is just kind of, or it could just be the author's just fucking rambling at this point, just trying to feeling like they're making a purpose, and it's like, not really. Like if he was saying, her purpose is also leaving because her family's purpose was being prostitutes for an old village, but the village doesn't really need prostitutes anymore because it works differently. So her lineage is also like a dying god, like the Badger that said, oh yeah, I used to be a god and now I've been replaced, so now humans don't need me. Is that the same that's been happening for Rikaku pretty much? Her family's role in the society is dwindling away and they're becoming powerless. I guess that's what they're trying to go for. Trying us to draw a connection between Rikako and the Badger, or a powerless god. Anyway, none of that had happened. I'd thrown away even Kemi. Haruki-sama, is something troubling you? Why would you think that? You were wearing a frightening expression. Ah, sorry. I had to keep a tight grip on my conscience. Without deciding what to do about Miko, I returned to the dining hall where I found Yasunaga-kun and Kaori-san. Yasunaga-kun seems a bit better than before, but only slightly. Kaori-san looked the same, though, so I couldn't tell if she succeeded in getting Yasunaga-kun to not talk about Takumi-san. Gon needs her badly, and her family and her role just keeps diminishing, just as she feels sympathy for something slowly dying in an open wound. Okay. Garrison looked the same though, and I couldn't tell if she... Okay, yeah. Let's prepare lunch, shall we? The feast will start soon. Can you wash the pot for me? Of course. I opened the metal pot I'd grown used to using, and found a piece of paper inside. Takumi didn't tell Yasunaga anything about being a snake. He simply consoled Yasunaga about Kemi-san's death and talked about how they could proceed with the feast. Maintaining my poker face, I brought the pot to the sink and filled it with water, getting the paper all wet. The fountain pen letters quickly became unreadable. I then used a scrubbing brush to quickly tear it apart, rolled it into a ball, and threw it into the trash. Was Kaori-san aware just how risky that was? Anyway, that info just now is extremely important, unless he is lying to his own mother. Takumi-san hadn't told him about being a snake. What was I to make of that? The first time Takumi-san had revealed he was a snake on the very first day. Why would he be so careful now? What if he wasn't a snake? What if Yasunaga-kun lied to his mother as a precaution? Crap. Kaori-san's note didn't tell me anything about how she asked about it or the nuances of the replies. But this could definitely be a good time to come out as a snake. What was I to do now? I thought about that for every second of lunch. I did think I kept a normal expression on my face at least. I took far too long to decide that. Regardless of circumstances, I needed to claim a role. Let's begin today's feasts. We need to hang the wolves, Sakio Takumi. Prayer time was over for her. Her sadness and confusion had become hatred for the wolves. Everyone displayed approval of her words, including us wolves. We might have been the ones terrorizing them, but it wasn't hard for us to act like the powerless resistance. First of all, Yasunaga-kun said that Takumi-san's death rendered the snake's power meaningless. His tone seemed authentic, so it was hard to believe he was just hiding that we'd lost a snake. That means that only the confirmed humans so far are Mochi and Hashimoto-san. With Cheney and the old Wolfman and Takumi Nigon, there's only 13 of us now, with 11 being unconfirmed. And we must choose only one to hang, huh? That's, is quite difficult. Pick who the snake's looking at tonight. That'll leave just 10. If we'd have considered the order, Yasunaga was giving me a sideways glance. It should be Uni-chan. You talk a lot, so people start to think you're suspicious. Yeah, I imagine the old fart will think he'll talk shit about ya. Am I suspicious? You and the Durno woman were against hanging the first day. The committee was against it too. Even you understand why, right? I voted for the hanging. Kanzo-san began presenting as a reasonable argument. He was basically saying that just about everyone here deserves a noose. Please calm down. We still don't have enough information to decide. It's a mistake to use that vote as a basis for her hanging. I was the one who suggested it, and I'm a monkey, so please control yourselves. Now, if we were to be optimistic, what's the likelihood of the old wolf person from yesterday being a wolf? 0. Huh? A certain answer from a place no one expected. Oh, fart was a human. Are you saying that? Don't move, any of you. Sharp words and a sharp sound. He stabbed a kitchen knife in the dining hall on the tatami before him. Haruchan gasped while Kanzo-san made a stern face and got up. I said don't fucking move, that means you too, old fart. Kanzo-san could have probably beaten him. Kanzo-san could have probably beaten him with one or two stab wounds in him. He didn't do it though, probably because the hostility in Yoshigitsu-kun's voice was highly restrained. Despite his intense words, he was very calm and displayed great determination. It was a silent threat, and Kanzo-san believed it was worth listening to him. What is it? Say it. He even encouraged him to talk. Sorry, what is it? Say it. I'm the crow. The old wolf guy we hanged yesterday was a human. Wait, did I say he was the crow? Wait. Did I say... Wait a minute. Did I actually nail that? I think I said he was the crow, right? Did I randomly get... Let's go, common streamer W. I guess the old lady was a wolf. I guess he was the crow. I did change my vote from Takumi to Hashimoto was the snake, so that was wrong, but fuck yeah. I'm just correct, but too early. Every time. Hey, if anyone says they're the crow, they're faking it, and I'm killing them right now. Stop. We don't need such demonstrations. I won't stop. The feast's all about whether you believe or not, right? I also think in the second loop, I guessed that Kemi was a wolf because that would have been like the biggest emotional impact. I don't remember if I got the rest correct. If that's the case, the ones who will win are the ones who will show just how damn seriously you are, right, you wolf assholes. If you want to die, try saying you're a crow. I dare you. I saw what he was doing here. The feast's all about whether you believe or not, right?
they both reached the same conclusion because they weren't wrong. Due to the unreliable nature of playing the odds, the feast became, just as I thought, a game of politics rather than logic. In political scenarios, the ones who were in charge were the loudest and most emotional, not the most rational. After all, logic required energy to understand. Basically, it was a pain. Yeah. So, see, basically it was a pain in the ass is kind of muddying this. So, what he's saying is lying is OP, right? If I told you the sky is green, and let's make it something a little less obvious. If I told you I had 90 cents, and you looked at me and 100% knew I had 100 cents on me, and you were like, no, you have 100 cents. And I'm like, no, I have 90. And then you had to show me math that equals 100, and I went, no, it's 90. You're just counting it wrong. Like, I could just keep lying my ass off to you, and, like, I don't have to prove anything. I just have to keep saying the lie. However, the person trying to tell the truth has to keep being like, no, here's how you figure out the truth, and keep, like, walking people through it. Meanwhile, I could just be like, nah, I'm just saying whatever I want to say. And I just keep acting like I'm telling the truth. So, basically, lying is overpowered. Lying is OP, please nerf. After all, logic required energy to understand. The people who actually enjoyed building complex logical theories were by far the minority. The majority disliked wasting energy or understanding them, even if they did have that capacity. Same thing with, like, if somebody says, oh, well, this thing is true, it's common sense, and doesn't want to, like, look into it any further. And it's like, sure, you might think it is, but if you look at the actual reasoning, there was something they all had in common. They all wanted to believe that the world was actually easy to understand. The truth was simple, and that someone was just making it more complex than it was. Man, this is very, very, very time appropriate. Yeah. The truth was that any world worked based on complicated mechanisms, and it only seemed simple because you wanted to see it that way. However, it was impossible to impress the complexity of the world upon everyone. Same thing, I guess you could also say with, like, people who say the world is flat versus it's round. You have to show them all the ways in which the world is circular and different things. Meanwhile, they can just like, it's flat. It is. It's simple. It's just you just go in one direction, and then instead of having to do all these weird math problems to figure it out or fly into space, like, it's flat. There you go, easy. It's just a conspiracy. It's just a conspiracy. That's it. Thus, people always left certain matters, such as science or politics, to those considered to be pros. It was a sensible delegation of authority. But to earn trust, you needed to present yourself in a way that was simple rather than complex, which is very fucking hard. You needed a story that the ones who cast logic aside could easily swallow. In other words, you need to be as dumb as them. Like Takumi's son back then, and Yoshigitsu now, they realized that, so they decided to gamble on it. Discard logic, pick your methods based on feeling and preference, gamble, and win support. They'd provide an anti-logic crowd with a convenient lifeboat. It was definitely a good approach. But Yoshigitsu-kun had overlooked two things. Doesn't look like there's anyone. Then I guess I'm the real crow, huh? First was his own nature. He was a persuasive person even when there was no basis for it. I actually admired that. Yoshigitsu-kun was your generic edgy delinquent to the core. However, he was kind at heart, as well as passionate and naive. That much was plain for me to see. It was why everyone could believe him if he took things seriously enough. As long as he stayed honest, no one would doubt him. It was a rare and valuable talent. In a good-natured society, that is. Well, I see. Then let's all assume he's the crow, while the old wolf bear was a human. That means we have 10 other people, 3 of which are wolves. That was all that he'd earned by revealing his guardian to us wolves. Was it really worth the risk? The other thing he misunderstood was that this was something that couldn't be emulated. No one who tried something similar would get the same results. This was because winning via brute force was usually a bad move in this game. He was the exception. It did nothing, and he could only use it once. You should have saved that for the end game, Yoshigetsu-kun. Oh, how I wanted to say that. I wanted to put on a shit-eating grin and tell that to him. I really wanted him to understand how harsh the world really was. Thus, I had to survive. Damn it, I had to win this even more now. I had to... Okay, we're playing a death game where I'm going to kill a bunch of people and I'm trying not to get them to hang me. But now I actually want to win for the correct reasons. So I can tell him I'm better than you. Just so I could gloat. I respect your courage in revealing your guardian. I also have something to say. What is it? If this was Yasunaga's trap, I'd fall right into it. It'd be embarrassing, but I'd just loop back and try again. I'm the snake. That's why I couldn't look into myself. Huh? You? Huh. I can't be as intense as he was, but if there's any wolf who wants to be a fake snake, I'll tear them down with facts and logic. Do we have any volunteers? You let Mal get Rick Scrub, yeah. No, of course not. Takumi Muro really was a snake. That lowers the double of our notes to 9. And Yasunaga-kun didn't know that either. Oh, how I wanted to thank Takumi-san. Because of how thoroughly he kept a secret, we wolves would be saved. Is that why you suggested we investigate Takumi-D? Yes. It was wasted though. I see. So you basically declared who you would investigate, and if the targets are killed, we'll never increase the amount of confirmed humans. Bingo. That was why I suggested we check Takumi-san. I also wanted to see his reaction to help me figure out if he was a snake. Then, who did you look into the first night? I already had an answer to that. Yasunaga Orbe. He was a human. That leaves 8. Can I suppose another one? That cute little girl Miko-chan, right? Isn't she a badger? I knew she would point that out.
Is that the one you talked about? The one that would lie?
Yes, I think the badger exists.
No, I'm the goat.
True, Miko is the greatest of all time. I am sorry that she is being like this, but I also think that as well. If she is not talking nonsense, she insists we hang someone, which is definitely something she did not previously do.
Well, I don't know what her role is, but if she has contact with the wolves, I'm sure they told her to keep quiet. Therefore, I believe we should assume that she is a human. Definitely not a wolf, at least.
If you remove her, that leaves just 7. Gods aside?
Quit joking!
Silence.
The badger? That don't exist!
Ka-chan, did you forget when Gen-san talked about it?
Gen done senile then! Not worth believing!
But the idea that she'd just be quiet if she was a wolf is believable, right?
Not at all! The wolves could just be using her as a sacrifice to hide themselves. Hey, Yasu's really human, huh, Snake?
Yes, no doubt about it.
Then he's too soft.
Though
You said we shouldn't hang even when Chi died.
Oh, so you don't trust me? The mood changed. Yasunaga-kun was as stern as he's been when he was a wolf.
Would I shut him up?
Not yet. Oh man, Yasu-san's mad. I really like to go now.
Ni-chan, stop! You're scaring me! You too, Oji-chan!
Musashi-san, we considered investigating me before, but that's meaningless now, right? Yeah, it's already done. Then investigate Haru-chan next.
Me? You'll do that?
Yes. Once that's done... Okay, so... The way for us to fuck around is to investigate Haru, tell them that she is a wolf, hang them. Yoshigetsu then proves that I was correct, once again solidifying my role as the snake. Ooh, yes, let's do it. Yes, once that's done, you'll be safe. I didn't mind that. Now that I'd taken the role as a snake, I could lie as much as I wanted. But why'd he suggest it now?
Quit messing around!
Naturally, Kanzo-san snapped.
Investigate me, I'm human! And youngin said I'm more important here.
Well, I also believe that it's best to investigate the most influential participants. You've showed your true colors.
What? You want to flaunt your importance to the feast instead of ensuring your own granddaughter's safety.
I get it. She's dead, so you want to have Haru now, huh?
What did you say? I don't think of Haru-chan that way. Yasunaga-kun was able to finish his sentence because Kanjo-san's fist didn't reach him.
Ah!
Yoshigitsu had jumped in just at the right time to take it in the stomach.
You scum!
Shoot it! He then sunk his left fist in Yoshigitsu-kun's cheek. The teen fell to the ground, the kitchen knife from before still in the tatami a few feet from him. Kanjo-san had already noticed it, so he beat Yoshigitsu-kun to the punch and grabbed the handle. Then prepared to...
Oji-chan, stop!
Everyone was looking at Kanjo-san right now. Cold stares, fearful eyes, judgmental glares. Yasunaga-kun's trap wasn't that special. Like he said, it was worth investigating Kanjo-san and confirming his humanity at this point. However, since he was so rough about it, Kanjo-san had gone and treated Haru-chan and Yasunaga-kun's woman rather than his dear granddaughter. That was when he had to retract his statement and stop himself. There were many ways he could have gone about this, like saying that letting Haru-chan be investigated would get her killed, like Takumi-san last night. Or he could have said he made a mistake, and Haru-chan was more important and let her have the turn. He would have still had everyone's respect then. He could have still been the backbone of the village. But now, he turned violent and pointed a blade at the defenseless brothers. Right now, he was just a threat to everyone. Upon coming back to his senses, he seemed to have realized that he'd crossed the line and could never come back from. The crude old man was at a loss for words. Excuses, manipulation, rationalization, all of these concepts were foreign to a character as stoic as he was. A man of few words had little he could say after such a catastrophic blunder. However, out of all the words he could have chosen, hang me. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that coming. I certainly didn't expect those.
Oji-chan!
I've lost my edge. Yasu's right. I forgot what mattered and what pointed a blade at a human. No one will listen to me now, and that's fine. It gotta be done.
But, no, I'll be alone then.
Haru, that ain't true. Yasumizu's your family. That's what they think too. Yasu. Yes? You can defeat the wolves, right? I must. You too, Yoshi? Damn fucking right. Oribe, you got some good sons.
I only...
Let us calm down for a second. This is a bit too chaotic. Shut it, outsider. But this is our problem. Oh dear.
Ka-chan, isn't it too early?
Elders should die first. Teba, you better prepare too.
Oji-chan!
Stay strong, Haru. Oh man. Were these people brain dead? This wasn't the time and place for this. Personal vendettas, lover spats, brotherly union, maturity, generation gaps. This wasn't a situation where you could waste time on something like that. Was it? Hanjo-san was human, no matter how you put it. Sure, he'd shown some discord, but they had to make an effort to fix that. I didn't mind if they got rid of someone who'd make an unnecessary scene, but the decision could have been more calculated and less emotional. Those who weren't part of the circle just didn't know how to react. The one time you're the wolf and I feel like everyone else goes like, get the tissues, everyone. I'm the wolf this time. Suddenly everyone's like, alright, time for us to have issues and problems. Time for us to start acting like this is a drama. Hashimoto-san showed me some serious courage trying to intervene. However, he'd underestimated how cold Yasumizu could be towards outsiders. I knew that well, thanks to Kemi. Well, not like I objected to this outcome. If these people were going to accept his death and find unity in madness, I'd just play along. I wasn't looking down on them, I just thought that they were brain dead and that I had to take it back. Madness was a fearsome foe to face. So, also that's a great, I love that, fearsome foe to face. So the problem is, if Kanzo says, kill me, and he's saying that because he wants to
spare someone else from being hanged. Like, if he's a human and Tae-chan is a human, just telling them to hang the older people first. If you start hanging more humans, you start, like, blowing through possible wolves. Like, if you don't hit a wolf and there's, like, nobody, like, once there's 5 people left and 3 of them are wolves, you're kind of fucked. Because you're never getting a majority vote anymore. Hell, even if you have 3 humans and 3 wolves, you're kind of fucked still. I mean, not 100% true. Because he's a monkey, right? Yeah, he's a monkey. Why would you ever hang him? Who gives a fuck if he sows discord? You know he's a monkey. No, it's Hashimoto and Mochi are the monkeys. Okay, never mind. Okay, yeah, okay. Because if it gets to the point where it's Mochi and Hashimoto, Yoshigitsu, that's 3 of them who are guaranteed not whatchamacallits. We also said that we investigated what's his name, the smart kid, and he knows he's not one either. So once you get to that point, like, you need to start picking off some of the people who have who are guaranteed not to be human. You need to start picking off people who are guaranteed to be humans. Because if you don't, and people can use that as process of elimination, you're really likely to get yourselves fucking killed, especially if there are more people who are guaranteed human because they have their animals. Because right now you have 2 monkeys and the spider. If you get 2 monkeys and a spider and 3 wolves, then you're just, I mean, if you get that far, you're just perfectly deadlocked. But they would also have to kill Miko, because if they don't kill Miko and she's the badger, she could always be the tiebreaker. So at some point, they would have to hang Miko just so she doesn't fuck up a vote. Yeah, their best bet, I guess, would be to hang Miko. And not let the badger fuck up a vote at some point. It's not like they cannot. I mean, they could always just say she's the badger, don't let her vote. And completely blow out a roll, though. But yeah, if Kaori does do the thing where she just kills her 2 kids, that's the spider who's gone, which I've already said is probably a good thing, because he's a guaranteed human. And also taking her son, which we've said is a guaranteed human, and we know is one. I let myself revel in victory once I actually won. And I would definitely emerge victorious. Thanks to my looping, I had all the attempts I needed and then some. Don't become the old wolf man. Why'd her face just come back to my head? She had nothing to do with this turn of events, right? Not even the last time. What was I not supposed to become? Takumi-san and Kemi were gone now. Thus, the task of tying up, dragging, and hanging Kanzo had transferred to the Oribe brothers. The elder brother led, while the younger one dragged. Everyone else followed after, singing a saddening version of the prayer to Shinai. Though perplexed, the journos joined in, too, and they looked a lot like I had back then. By this point, the feeling that the villagers were crazy had dulled, and I was starting to believe that I was the anomaly here. The term peer pressure came to mind. There certainly was a way to use peer pressure to erode people's aversion to murder and reduce them to marionettes. By imposing such meaningless, repetitive rituals... Alright, lock the fuck in. By imposing such meaningless, repetitive rituals on a group of people enough times, they would eventually be viewed as commonplace events. It had been done many times throughout history. In wars, POW camps, cult of sex, and the feast. No. Yasumizu as a whole was a prime example of that. The local culture was deeply ingrained into their minds. Anyone living here would eventually start to question their own way of life.
Huh? So the story I created wasn't far off the mark. Anyone living near a hellish place long enough would themselves become inhabitants of hell. If you looked at it that way, or I guess a better way of phrasing that would be the banality of evil, where even though it's evil, you get so used to it, you ignore it, or it's so foreign and alien to your mind that you have some cognitive dissonance. We're just like, yeah, we're hanging people, but we had to. Of course we had to. Yeah, it's fine. We have to do this. Something like that, I assume. If you looked at it that way, I might have been a resident of hell myself. Now, why did the great lord of local hell, Shinai-sama, want out of something so needlessly profound? I still didn't know. In fact, I wasn't sure if the god himself knew what he wanted out of this. Just a thought. An eternal dance of murder and concealment, shrouded in the densest mist.
Oji-chan!
I already said goodbye. I'll leave the rest to you. Rise not.
Oji-chan!
Rise not. The brothers extended their hands, and the rugged old man's body fell down. In a moment, the rope went taut. I heard a sound akin to a frog's croak from down below. The seeds of malice I'd planted had grown and bloomed. I wanted him to live a bit longer, and play the role of the antagonistic, hateful old fart, but oh well. Deciding to kill him would probably haunt Yasunaka-kun until he died. As someone with a strong sense of justice, he would either eventually self-destruct or struggle to find some internal justification for it. No. We promised Kaori-san that we'd kill him soon. Whatever the case, there was no problem for us. For now, I just had to be wary of some surprise attacks from the rest. Hope that the last of the Uematsu, Rikaku-san, didn't have any other secrets. And think of how to deal with these two. Hashimoto-san wasn't shaken by the lynching. And as we return... Alright, so this is the time where we... This is the time where we kill Hashimoto and have Kaori-san take out her own kids and then herself. That would be the perfect play. We get rid of our murder for the night is a big, heavy mental target, and then have her blow out her two kids, because that blows out a guaranteed human and the spider. That would probably be the best play altogether. Is we actually have Kaori go through with it and just in like the dining hall or something, just take out her kids, and then she can either kill herself or we let the corruption take her. Because at that point, it's just the doctor, the old lady, me, Miko, Rikako, and Mochi. Mochi might be able to torture Kaori, but not sure. Anyway, Hashimoto wasn't shaken by the lynching, and as we returned, our eyes met. I had no idea what he was thinking. His expression and eyes both were unreadable to me. He, on the other hand, clearly read something about me. That wasn't fair. First Yoshigitsu-kun, now Hashimoto-san? That goddamn superpowers were just unfair. They were the reason why I, a normal, talentless individual who didn't stand out in any way, had to take such drastic measures. I couldn't even tell if he actually suspected me or was just slightly uneasy. I felt like I was doing a good job, but since I was now at the forefront, it was more likely I would be targeted. What would he do next? So if Hashimoto is as smart as we're giving him, he probably, like I said, when he said he didn't want to out him yet, when Hashimoto said that, he was talking to Takumi. So my guess is he meant I didn't want to out you as the snake yet, and he knows that I'm a fake. That's my guess. And if it wasn't for Konzo being so angry and gruff, Hashimoto probably would have tried to point things in a better direction and unfortunately wasted this day of hanging. I was actually kind of excited for tomorrow's feast. After the feast, everyone gathered in the dining hall. With barely any words, we ate a simple dinner and went our own ways. Takumi-san and Konzo-san were gone now, so we didn't even have anyone to say that it was a good time to go back. However, it was hard to believe they would just collapse. Hashimoto-san would plan to decide what to do tomorrow, and the Orderbe brothers would do something too. I could only imagine what they were thinking of in the window between sheltering and dreaming. Thus began a third secret meeting. We would tear the fragile plans to shreds.
Now, let's fulfill the promise.
Her voice was calm but stern. Let's give one of your sons their rest.
Certainly. Which one are we going for? Ni-chan? Yoshi-kun?
They sure were excited about this. It pissed me off.
Don't become...
As did Kemi's face, which often flashed before my eyes recently. Before we do that, can't you two suffer a bit more? I made a smile and asked that.
Suffer?
I mean, this is difficult for you, right? You're about to send a son back to Yomi. It's a tragedy, isn't it? Haru-chan, you just sat there and watched your own grandfather was hanged today. That's madness. A terrible way for a human to act. I've done many terrible things since being born and granted this power. Sending people to where they would truly belong carries with it a lot of sympathy, empathy, and guilt. Ugh. This lie was such a pain. The pain at this point. I didn't even have a reason to keep telling it to anyone. If we act normal while If we act normal while doing this kind of thing, we won't be in the right mind anymore.
Do you think we're not suffering?
Oh? You are?
Of course. It's a bother to cry at this point, so we simply do our best to be insane. And I just don't want to cause you trouble. Unlike you, we can't keep up with you unless we go insane.
But people normally don't know how to go insane.
Also, Haru-chan, don't act like this is my fault. Kara-san will die after she kills her sons, but you won't, right? You need to survive and bear the sins. I can die too, can I? Yeah, she can, can't she?
I raised my leg and kicked over the bucket.
Oh my. I've had enough of this. Okay, so this is definitely something that in the first feast that we did, we all died. We have no idea what happened to the wolves and the badger. In the second feast, we defeated the wolves. And everyone ended up dying anyway. Except for us. I think we killed ourselves at the end or something like that. Or we just like randomly died or something. No, or because what's his name went crazy and killed everyone. Is the entire point of this game that everyone dies? But that can't be true, because the last time the only people who lived were Konzo and the old wolf man. So my assumption is the only people who can live after a feast are the wolves. And that everyone else dies anyway. We would have to see the wolves lose again and see if everybody just randomly fucking dies anyway. To see if that was true or not. Anyway, I've had enough of this nonsense. Then why not get this over with? Yeah, like we should. Kill Yoshigitsu or Yasunaga. Okay. So, Yasunaga is a smart one. However, Yoshigitsu has the power. Yoshigitsu, we have confirmed that Yoshi is if Yoshi says that Konzo was a human, what does that mean for us anymore? That would leave ambiguity that Konzo was a wolf, but then why would he choose to get himself sacrificed that way? They probably still wouldn't believe it. Yasunaga is the smart one, so getting rid of him would be a little bit better, just for his deduction abilities. Yoshi would tell everybody that Konzo wasn't a wolf as we suspected and be very pissy. If we get rid of Yoshi, Yasu might break down even further. And I do like my reasoning about having to kill people with powers before there's too many just regular humans and people with powers, and then they know who the wolves are and aren't. So getting rid of someone... Yasunaga, you know what? I'm going to say getting rid of Yoshi is going to be my gut feeling. So let's go with it.
We would kill Yoshigitsu Orbe. Killing the crow was a very logical move for the wolves. Even if Kanzo-san were alive, I didn't think anyone could imagine Kaori-san was a wolf actively killing her sons. Still, it was important we had a consistent story. Are you okay with going for Yoshigitsu-kun?
Yoshigitsu. Oh, Yoshigitsu. Alright, I can finally put him to rest.
I was getting pissed off again. Was it because I was twisting and playing the part of the villain? Yet the two of them were supposed to be acting like they were the good guys? Kaori-sen? Yes? Please kill him yourself. Otherwise, the story wouldn't make sense. If the murder was done out of motherly love, the crime needed to reflect that ideology. Because there was no way she could do it. And then she would suffer. Suffer. Alright. She wouldn't be alright with it. I'll do it too. I'll let you do the whole thing yesterday. Be thorough. Don't leave a semblance of his original shape behind. Why? So we don't leave any traces behind. If it's done after the killing blow, he won't suffer. I see. Alright then. Are you good with that? Are you good with that too, Kaori-san? Yes. Don't become... suffer. Yeah, once again, that's something that I was saying early on. The entire point of this game seems to just make everyone in town suffer. Because people who are the wolves now have to kill people who are close to them. People who aren't wolves have to choose people to hang who they're close to because they're in the village. And even when we won the game, the doctor ended up killing everybody and then even hanged Rikako, who he really, really, really likes. So no matter what happens, everyone seems to just be made, like this entire game is just to make the people in the town suffer. His room was just the rear of the dining hall. Which is funny because Kanzo-san went through 3 different fucking feasts, so he's really suffering. It was a small room used for storage that he'd started sleeping in since 2 years back. I was always concerned since Yasunaga moved into the dorm. It's sad, isn't it, how boys can't always live together? Like I cared. Go ahead. I handed her a grass sickle lying behind. Do your best, please. I finally calmed down after watching Kaori-san wail as she chopped up her son. In the end, Haru-chan just mostly watched blankly from the sidelines the whole time. By the time we had to carry Kaori-san back to the dining hall, once she'd collapsed from exhaustion, my irritation had faded. Haru-chan took care of the undressing her. It would have been hard to redress her, so it seemed she just removed the outfit and put her to bed. You have gone completely mad, haven't you, City Dweller? I'm not going mad. Then how could you corner Kaori-san like that with a faint smile? Because I was relieved. Huh? Generally, I live in accordance with the logical common sense and sense of morality. So when those go mad, I have to go mad too. I was relieved that a part of Kaori-san didn't want to kill her son. Seeing her cry was a load off my chest. If she hadn't shown a single sense of remorse, I might have snapped and killed her. That is what defines going mad? Why is that? It's unfair for the one who went mad first to not take any responsibility. Splendid! I still cannot comprehend your abnormality. That is what attracts me to you. I think I'll make an exception and turn you down. Oh, what a cold answer! And why? Because you're... No, never mind. Reluctant to part, are you? Shut up. Just now I felt like I was on the verge of realizing what God was. But that sensation vanished like mist, and I returned to the prefab with dissatisfaction lingering in my heart. I must have really been tired. I awoke to the sound of someone knocking on the door. They were making quite a racket. I opened my eyes and looked out the window to see Haru-chan. Wake up! Fusashi-san, wake up! I quickly got up when I realized something wasn't right. What's wrong? Kaori-san's lost it! Huh? I was dangerous to talk about that sort of thing during the day. I looked around outside in a hurry, but couldn't tell if anyone else was there in the mist. Still, I invited her in and locked the door so we could continue. What happened? The first thing Kaori-san did when she got up was, Ni-chan! It was then that I noticed Haru-chan's breathing was ragged. There were tear stains on her cheeks. Calm down. There was so much blood! Sorry. Why are you apologizing? Because I'm the one who pushed Kaori-san that far. But in the end, we killed everyone together! You didn't have to think that's right. I can't do that! Now wasn't the time to persuade her. I left her behind in the prefab and went outside.
I armed myself with a stick to be safe and headed to the plaza. But by the time I got there, everything had been resolved. The dining hall was a sea of blood. In the midst of it was a bloodstained corpse that apparently belonged to Yasunaga-kun. Behind the counter, I saw the adults, or rather Hashimoto-san, pinning Kaori-san down. Hashimoto-san leaned on Kaori-san, leaving her gasping for air and moaning in agony. She must have been hurt. Ushashi-san, could you bring some rope and help me tie her up? I couldn't believe she still had a poker face in times like this. He still had a poker face on times like this. The spurt of blood on his chest only accentuated the oddity of it all. Not that I was in any position to say anything about it. Alright, Rikaku-san? Oh, this way. I took Rikaku-san out of the ring of people surrounding Kaori-san and got what I needed. Kaori-san screamed and raged at being bound, but in the end, could do nothing as we locked her up in the dining hall. Though we were all present after I brought Haru-chan back, the oppressive atmosphere didn't fade. Are you okay, Haru-chan? Did Hassan do anything to you?
Of course not. Don't talk to me.
Haru-chan?
First, she'd lost her grandfather, and now the boy who'd been like an older brother to her. There was nothing that could possibly cheer Haru-chan up. Still, we had to do the feast, as well as decide how to handle Kaori-san's fate before that. With Kanzo-san, Takumi-san, and Yasunaga-kun gone, Keinosuke-shi, Hashimoto-san, and I ended up with the biggest influence out of necessity. I was a little surprised the two of them had agreed not to torture Kaori-san from the start. Maybe I was the one who messed up for finding that surprising, but both of them were avoiding tormenting a fellow villager. Thus I put along with them, knowing to give me an advantage. On the other hand, there was the matter of how to deal with Kaori-san. While the people of Yasumizu were calling to hang her immediately, Hashimoto-san and Mamiya had different ideas. She broke the laws, yes? That means she will automatically be punished later, right?
Leaving someone so terrifying is definitely scary, but let's think calmly about this. We've lost a crow and another human on top of that. We can't get them back. There are 10 of us here, and Kanzo-san didn't seem like a wolf, meaning there are almost certainly 3 wolves left. If that girl, the badger, has turned to the wolves' side, that means they have 4 votes. We humans still have the majority with 6 votes. I'm trying to say that gives us some breathing room. If we hang the wrong person today, we only have 4 votes against 3.
Yeah, so their only plan is they need to hang Miko.
I think it would be better to hang Madame Orderbe and create a situation where we have 5 votes against 3, don't you?
I mean, if you think she's a wolf, just don't give her a vote.
Only the monkeys and the snake have revealed themselves right now. Speaking of which, what were the results of your investigation of Fusashi-kun?
Seems like Haru-chan's a human.
That makes 4. And if Miko is a badger and Kaori Orderbe is a wolf, that means 2 of the remaining 4 are wolves. Isn't it more important to get rid of the confirmed wolf when the imbalance exists over beating a 50-50 chance?
Logically speaking, he was right.
If the snake continued investigating with the spider protecting them, there would be no more unconfirmed people before long. If the humans could kill the confirmed wolf, they'd have more than half the votes over the wolves and would gain plenty of time until they could secure the victory. However, I don't know the details since I wasn't there, but is Kaori-san really a wolf? Maybe she simply lost after seeing the horrible state of Yoshigitsu's body and ended up killing Yasunaga-kun as a result?
No, she said it herself. She said she's received the blessing of the Yomitsu Okama-sama, the true guardians, and that we will all Yomibito, and that she'd grant us salvation, that she'd saved her son through death.
Tayson's eyes shifted towards the pool of blood. So Kaori-san had confessed everything. What a handful of a teammate she turned out to be. That story doesn't sound right, does it?
I've heard that version of the story apparently exists in Kamafujiyoshi, but anyway, all we gotta do is decide who to hang in the feast. All we can do is leave Kaori-san behind.
I see. I agree. What about the rest of you? No one objected. Then let's take this to the hall. Oh, Kiyonosuke and Sato-san.
What is it?
You laid out your idea just now, but if we found another wolf, it would be a different story. I had a bad feeling about this.
Everyone had a drink. Let's begin the feast.
Hashimoto-shi, I would like you to explain what you were implying.
I've been doing some thinking. There are 2 wolves among us, yes? Chikamochi Kimashita-kun and I are monkeys, Ushashi-kun is a snake, and Haramakashima is a human. Also, Miko is likely the badger.
No, I'm not. Let that lady go. Man, it must be tough being a wolf.
You think so? She's a little girl. So many would be reluctant to lynch her. To the wolves, she's a vote that's hard to lose. Well, I have no... Oh, you don't actually have an intention of killing her. Oh, I'd be like, yeah, she's the obvious choice. Well, I have no intention of killing her myself. If the humans win, she shouldn't have to die.
Bah?
Not assigned.
Excuse me, anyway. The ones here who haven't been confirmed yet are Yamakawa-san, Masato, Uematsu, and Q-chan. One of those 4 is a wolf.
On paper, anyway.
At this point, I tried thinking like a wolf, and I noticed something was off.
Well, don't give us the suspense. Tell us.
I wasn't trying to keep you in suspense. Honestly, what I consider off is nothing more than an impression of mine. And when you suspect someone, you become cautious. With that said, I took what Oribe-san said in serious consideration, and it appears her killing was well-intentioned.
Preposterous.
Here's it now. I was going to say the same goes for all of us after that.
How? The wolves are the leaders of the Yamabito. They kill humans rooting corruption and grudges.
Oh no, that's not what I meant. I was referring to the execution we all call hanging. It's believed that hanging someone brings them salvation, right? That is better than being killed by the wolves?
Well, yes.
The wolves are the same in how they also justify their own killings as being for the supposed good of others.
An outsider would never understand.
Hey, Hashimoto-san, that was originally my role. Are you sure about this?
My apologies. Anyway, Kaori Oribe-san acted under the belief that she wanted to kill her son quickly for his own good. Thus, the desire to kill her sons must have been the first thing to have popped into her head naturally. And yet, she put herself at risk to kill Yasunaka-kun instead of waiting for the night. Isn't that strange? Why wasn't Yasunaka-kun the first victim then?
Serizawa was the first to die, but it was Muro who was the first to die at the hands of the wolves.
Yes, that's right. Takumi Muro-san.
Oh, Takumi, why?
Is that strange? He was always at the heart of discussions, so the wolves tried to sabotage that. That's also true, but my claim was that Oribe-san likely wanted to kill her sons. If so, I think it would have made a lot of sense for the wolves to have killed Yasunaka-kun. He had a point. If we killed Yasunaka-kun, there was a good chance of us throwing the feast into emotional and conservative chaos. Which meant that Hashimoto-san's argument was, why was it that the wolves would go so far as to reject Oribe-san's opinion and target Muro-san instead?
Maybe Kaori-san wasn't that hung up on killing him at that point.
True, it's not that out of question. There's a more likely possibility. After Serizawa-san stole her chance on the first day and she was denied on the second day, Oribe-san felt driven into a corner and went berserk. Shit, how do you know?
Why do you think that's more likely?
She said she was a wolf. The point is that she didn't have a problem with that, but she admitted it herself, right? Had she caused that commotion with the approval of the other wolves, I didn't think she would have ever said that. Curiously enough, I think Fusashi-san had it right. She could say it because she simply lost her mind and gone on a rampage.
Maybe? Like, even if the rest of the wolves told her to kill her sons, would we have told her to not tell them that she's a wolf? Because I think knowing that she's a wolf, obviously a wolf gives you a better... Does it? I mean, we definitely have said a little bit less, but we do keep speaking up. We have talked a lot more. Haru and Kaori-san have barely said anything. Haru chimes in every now and then, but Mochi's also kept his mouth shut this entire time. He said like 2 lines. Like, he talked in the first feast, and he talked like 1 line now. Besides that, he hasn't even opened his mouth yet. I mean, we know he's not a wolf, but yeah, we haven't had to we haven't really tried to go into a full logical explanation trying to figure out who it is. Luckily, none of them think of us like that, so they haven't even tried to figure that out yet. Hopefully.
Curiously enough, I think Fusashi-san had it right. She could say it because she simply lost her mind and gone on a rampage. Were she simply feigning madness, I think we'd be worrying about it more right now.
I see. So what you're saying is that everything went according to plan for the wolves up until Mura-san's death, but Kawi Orabe-san didn't approve? Which is why she caused this commotion, right? Where are you getting at with this?
In other words, the wolves insisted on killing Muro-san, and though they had restrained Orabe-san until yesterday, they lost control of her today. Those wolves are supposedly amongst those 4, but honestly, that just doesn't sound right. I'm sorry. That could be interpreted as me saying none of you look like you have the power to lead. But first of all, let's start with the lady. She is an elegant woman who I can't see going out of her way to reject Orabe-san's somewhat valid proposal. Yamawaki-san is an elder. She may have held more power than Orabe-san, but would she really use that to force her to kill Takumi-san first?
I would never do such a thing.
That's sophistry, isn't it? So long as Kaori-san was fixated on killing her beloved son quickly, it wouldn't be strange if things turned out the same way. What's gotten into you? This guy's trying to cast doubt on me.
Could you keep quiet?
Ooh, yeah. Why did we speak up? Bro.
Could you keep quiet, Fusashi-kun?
I had to stop him. I had to stop him from swaying everyone's hearts.
As for Nasato-san, you do not appear to be well liked by the people of Yasumizu. So I don't think you could have cooperated with Orba-chan on that well.
Now you're making assumptions. Kaori-san always tried to maintain harmony. So he's just went... Yeah. The fact that we're now trying to fight against this makes me feel like now we're super suspicious. I can't say I like hearing some of that, but I suppose you're right. Besides, I would have probably agreed to prioritize eliminating Yasunaka-kun over Muro.
As for Q-chan, this basically goes without saying, but I don't think any of you would listen to what an outsider like her wanted.
Well, you're right there. Besides, I don't have any of the makings of a leader in me.
This means that the leader of the wolves isn't one of them. How bizarre. So maybe someone we assumed to be a confirmed human was lying all along.
I mean, I understand what he's saying because of just story, but can you really assume that Rikako isn't hiding this entire time and doing something to tradition, or Tae-chan doing something to tradition? What's her name says kill my sons first, and Tae-chan says no, kill the person who I think is my surrogate son first. He's too smart. We can't let Takumi hang around.
So maybe someone we assumed to be a confirmed human was lying all along.
Impossible. So that would have to mean that one who claimed they were the snake is actually a wolf.
That's a lively imagination. No delusion you've got there. Haven't you noticed, Fusashi-kun? You barely said a word today.
And when you did, it was only to attack my argument. Yep. Isn't it natural to fight back against someone trying to frame you? Hey, stop it. You say all that, but you seem quite irritated yourself. You're acting strange too.
Unfortunately, no matter how strange I may seem, I'm not a wolf. I'm a monkey. And yes, I'm irritated. While I can't say I agree with people killing each other, given the special environment they were born into, I could at least understand it to some degree.
Yeah, so the fact that we said that we investigated Haru and said that she was human, if we were not the snake, that means me and Haru are probably the wolves, and Kaori-san can go. It will be killed by the corruption anyway. They can hang one of us, and then they go kill the last living person. So yeah, because my guess is even if we killed the other brother first, we probably would have all died. I think the only way we can salvage this is we have to go all the way back to that thing that Kanzo-san had to split in. However, that requires Key 20, and Key 20 shows up in a lot of places. So if we get Key 20 now, there's a ton of places we can use that damn thing. Anyway.
Well, I can't say I agree with people killing each other. Given the special environment they were born into, I could at least understand it to some degree. But an outsider who sneaks into the village and takes advantage of the circumstances to commit crafty murders is truly revolting. Like I said, those are your own delusions. You base this on a whole insane premise that I'm some slight... Yeah, you're not even arguing this right, dude. You should be arguing it as, wait, those reasons that you came up with why they can't be the leader, are you sure? You sure? Rikaku-san's just pretty much sitting here passively the entire time saying, oh, whatever. Like, are you sure she couldn't just be like her and Taechan couldn't just be taking the legend to be very, very true, and that's why they're doing this? They just didn't listen to Kaori-san because they just wanted to make sure they succeeded? Besides, didn't you say it yourself, an outsider can't lead the wolves? I don't know if you're partners or lovers or whatever, but those are some pretty ballsy double standards you have to protect Mamiya-san, yet accuse me.
Excuse me? I can't let that one pass. Are you messing around? Well, he may not be wrong. No, there's nothing going on between Hashimoto and I.
Good. It was a huge risk, but now I cast out on Hashimoto-san's side. Now I just had to press some more, and you're not an outsider anymore. You have been welcomed as a member of this village. And I'd say that was a fairly sly act on your part. You forced your way into joining the village, then gained a minimum amount of trust. Was it all planned? Plus, if you had the guts and silver tongue to declare yourself a snake, you could also have cajoled Oribe-san, couldn't you? Though it seems you couldn't talk your way out of this one. Oh, is this what they call a lack of trust? My condolences. I'm sure you realize at some point that Takumi-san was probably the snake and decided to kill him. Who even are you to begin with? Why did you make your way into this settlement? Did you already know about all...
Okay, this is the perfect time to admit you are the wolf and then talk with Hashimoto about everything you've been doing and ask him to help you puzzle something out before you hang it. Like, yeah, I'm a wolf. It's fine. I'm a wolf this time. 2 of the loops we've gone through, you've died. So this is the first time I've ever dealt with you. So I've actually been having this weird loop power. So I'm going to go remake some decisions and I'll probably redo this anyway. So I want to talk to you right now because I'm trying to figure some things out. Let me spitball things at you. Is there something that I could tell you if you didn't realize it? That I could like tell you that I wouldn't normally be able to know that would make you trust me in another loop so I could get you on my side when I'm not a wolf? Like, this is the time to just double down and be like, all right, perfect. This is great. I need your help, Hashimoto. His verbal assault was entirely based on speculation, but it was a well-crafted story. Like I said, those are all nothing but speculations. Of course it was, because it was a story I'd actually put together. His deductions just happened to be right on the money, that was all. Then, what if I said something that wasn't a speculation? If you got something, by all means, go for it. How did you know? Huh? Maybe you figured out last night's victim was Yoshigitsu Oribe-kun through process of elimination. But how did you know the state... Yeah, he did say that. But the state of his body, how would you know? Yeah. Maybe you didn't know, but his body was cleaned up long before you woke up. I don't know the details since I wasn't there, but Kaori-san really a wolf? Maybe she simply lost after seeing this horrible state of Yoshigitsu-kun's body and ended up killing Yasunaga-kun as a result. I'd said something a wolf couldn't have known. What do you mean? Yes, all you can do is play dumb, right? Seriously, I don't know what you mean. Those illusions are... It's not up to you or I to decide it's a delusion or a convincing hypothesis. Just then, everyone stared daggers at me. Let's vote. Once again, please, do the thing where you're like, okay, yeah, I'm a wolf. Vote for me this time. I just want to talk to you guys about a couple of things. I'd be completely defeated. Still not... Man, stop trying to deny it. Talk with them about it. This is the perfect time. Naturally, everyone voted to hang me. Haruchan voted for me too, as she was right too. Cleaving off the lizard's tail was a good choice. She didn't need words to cover for me with. At any rate, 2 wolves have been eliminated in the same day, and considering I covered for Haru, they're probably going to get her next. This is all Kaori Oribe's fault. Was that way I should think? Or should I think that I'd handled her the wrong way? There's no other way we can handle her besides telling her to kill the other child first. Maybe she doesn't snap if we do, but besides that, we need to mess with the Konzo more. That's the only other choice that we had that could truly change things that we haven't chosen.
Seriously, was there a way for the wolves to achieve victory here? Was there a way to step over the brilliant cameraman's corpse and press onwards? I felt like I was playing a troll game designed to be impossible to win. I continued to lament the absurdity of my situation at the very moment my consciousness sunk into the mist.
I mean, the only, the game doesn't let us do this, but the other way of doing this would be to tell Kaori we'll take out Yoshinaga, not Yoshi, I'm mixing up their fucking names. Take out the smart kid first. We'll take him out on the second day. What we need to do is first kill Takumi or to kill Hashimoto. If we just took out one of them first, Kemi wouldn't be able to commit suicide in our way because we wouldn't know that she did it. She wouldn't be there to just do it. So we would be like, oh, nope, didn't happen. And we could actually kill someone. But no, we're not going to look at hints. I didn't get a key yet, so I'm going to try only one more path right now. The only path I'm going to try before I end stream for the night is I'm going to pick killing the other brother and see if that changes anything. I'm going to assume that ends me in the same ending, but I don't really know what, like, if I don't have key 20 to go back here and choose the different thing with Konzo, then I don't know. Like, I would have to go back to a lot of other choices and try to see if I have the correct answer. So I can't do the select trap. I don't have these keys. So the only thing I can do is just choose the other brother. Kill Yasunaga. Oh, true. Yoshi might not die to his mother. We would kill Yasunaga Oribe. If we left Yoshigitsu-kun, the crow, live, they would find out that Kanzo-san was a human. But everyone already knew that. The crow would live another day. During the charade at noon, Yasunaga-kun inherited Kanzo-san's will. His death would be more distasteful and tragic than everyone else's. The blind people here wanted a leader, and this would shock them immensely. I had no idea how good of a leader he would be, but it would be bad for us if he was actually good. Can we kill Yasunaga-kun?
Certainly.
Yeah, she said certainly much faster than than for Yoshi.
I guess this is a goodbye to Nichan.
There's something I want to ask you to.
Yes?
Kill them yourselves this time. Why don't... I mean, we could just do it ourselves. If we did it, then maybe she wouldn't go that insane. Maybe she would still anyway. It doesn't matter.
Because you overdid it yesterday?
I don't want you stabbing my back while I'm doing the job.
I wouldn't do that.
Liar.
But I understand very well.
Be thorough about it.
What do you mean?
We need to make sure we don't leave any evidence or he doesn't leave any messages. He won't feel the pain once he's dead anyway. Alright, so this is basically the same. Don't become, suffer. I filled the bucket with water when the water from the faucet repelled the... Oh, this is added in dialogue. The water from the faucet repelled the corruption just fine, though it was from a well, so maybe it didn't count as tap water. Haru-chan went in front, and Kaori-san was right behind her. Haru-chan was waving around the flashlight.
I see you like that a lot, Haru-chan.
Who cared about that? We headed for the dorm. Not long after, we arrived. This reminded me of the first night, when we tried to kill him, and Kemi got in our way. This time, it was something else. What's the problem? Hurry up and open it. Oh, he was protected by the spider.
It's not opening.
Huh?
Let me try. What about the other rooms?
I tried touching the cheap-looking metallic knob, too. I didn't feel anything unlock, and I couldn't open it either. We then went around the houses and that had living people in them, but none of the doors opened. After a moment of thought, I reached a conclusion. The spider got the better of us.
So, the spider protected Nichan's door and prevented it from unlocking when we tried to open it? Oh no.
No, we should have expected this. Anyone living in Yasumizu would know that he's the most important position right now. Of course they would protect him.
What do we do?
We have no choice but to accept it. It's a night wasted for us. Kaori-san can't kill his son,
and the spider will know that we targeted Yasunaga-kun.
Is that a big deal?
No, not really. In fact, this gives us some info. The spider was from Yasumizu. If Mamiya-san was the spider, she'd have protected either Hashimoto, me, or Yoshigetsu-kun. The only locals whose roles we didn't know were Tei-san, Kinosuke, and Rikako. Yasunaga-kun couldn't have been the spider since they couldn't protect themselves. Miko couldn't be it either. She was the spider. Rikako-san would control her like last time. She was clearly the badger. That meant that one of those three was the spider. It wasn't complete.
Okay. What would be a fun twist is if Rikaku was the badger and she's just influencing Miko to do the act. That would be funny. But Rikaku didn't speak up and try saving us when we got caught, so I doubt she is. It wasn't completely unlikely that it was Kinosuke-shi, but I couldn't imagine him making the choice. He'd probably protect Rikaku-san every single day. In order of likelihood from highest to lowest, it was probably Rikaku-san, then Tei, then Kinosuke. Worse than that,
Tomorrow. Will I get to kill them tomorrow?
this woman had abandoned all hope to keep her mind intact. That now came back to undermine her sanity if she didn't get to kill her sons. And it looked like the situation where we couldn't let her have the kills she was promised would continue. Oh man, I wanted to reset. Right now, actually. Maybe I could just walk off a cliff and...
Oh, sorry. That was imprudent. Fusashi-san, you really are insane, aren't you?
Me? Insane? You just did the fucking evil cackling. You're the ones who went insane first. I told the others too, if they were in danger of getting hanged, pretend to be the crow, avoiding the spider at all costs. The spider wasn't an option, claiming the spider meant death on the following night, and if that didn't happen, it would mean that the spider was a fake. With Yoshigetsu-kun's reveal, pretending to be a crow became a lot harder, but it was still safer than pretending to be a spider. Yasunaga-kun and Hashimoto-san would find it suspicious that a spider reveal even happened in the first place, so that was another reason. Though, I would follow Yoshinaga-kun's idea and tell everyone that my snake power said that Haru-chan was a human, so she wouldn't be suspected. I was in way more danger than in that regard. Also, I would see how the votes worked out. If possible, hanging Rikako-san. However, our votes would go different ways. We couldn't force it. Tomorrow's vote would be on hanging one of the 6 unconfirmed humans. Tei-san, Kaori, Kinosuke, Rikaku, Miko, Mamiya. I would try to make sure it wasn't Kaori. After I approved that course of action, we went our own ways. We said goodbye to Kaori-san and went uphill. Oh, okay. Are we about to have another discussion, I guess? Silence. 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 Haru-chan.
What?
I was the one who started the conversation. That was a loss for me. Am I insane?
Maybe. I don't really know you. Though, maybe I don't understand how you can brutally kill a man and talk about morals.
She had a point. Another loss for me. God.
What is it, silly dweller?
Am I insane?
When you first came here, you were the kind of person who would think I want to die to restart. Well, I certainly would not call you a good person.
That wasn't fair. Third loss. It's all Yoshimizu's fault.
Well, sorry. I still live and die here, though.
This is hard.
What is?
Nothing. Hey,
What?
did you two really not feel anything about Kanzo-san?
Of course I did.
Same for the Orbeys and Moche?
I don't want to kill anyone.
Then why are you acting all normal?
Because it's the right thing, the right way to act.
Right? Right?
I am not corrupted. I'm not insane. I'm not. It's Fujiyoshi that's messed up. The god that's messed up.
Is God some state of being? Crazy. Right. State of being.
Have you realized something, city dweller? Nope.
If that were the case, I could understand it, but not even then some things wouldn't make sense. No, even then some things wouldn't make sense. No, that wasn't right either. It wasn't that I couldn't understand. It was just so absurd and way too hopeless. But
I wanted to tear off all these masks and examine them to my heart's content. There was no more terrifying or thrilling moment than the one when you were about to expose the ugly face of the unknown. And apparently the role of a wolf wasn't fit for this. The wolves were way too right. Basically, I had to change my line of thinking. Haru-chan, here's an idea. I turned back to the small wolf.
What?
All right, it was Haru-chan. We should give our all to be villains.
Villains?
Yeah, the bad guys. She tilted her head in confusion. We're bad guys who kill people. We're bad guys who betray their own. We're bad guys who do what we want. It would all be because we're evil, not because we're right. Evil is free from all forms of justice.
Villains? Evil? Are you sure it's good to be like that?
Nope, it's not good, of course. But you know something? If they set their minds to it, humans are animals that can do bad things.
Killing is bad?
Of course it's evil.
And killing friends, family, and good people?
Even worse, it's pure evil.
Why?
Reasons why we shouldn't murder. It was perhaps the hardest topic in morality. However, when you thought about it, it wasn't too difficult to find a logical answer to that. You simply ignored the concept of good and evil. If ignorance of ideas was an integral part of evil, then I would teach her, and through it, pose her a question about how flexible she really was.
So, there's something to, there's something, I don't know if they're going to, how much they're going to go into, but if you tried putting a moral, or at least to me, right, in my own experience, if you tried putting a moral, oh, we don't kill because of a moral reason, that's part of it. But to me, it's more of just an instinctual gut feeling that I don't want to murder something. Even a living animal. Can you imagine just picking up a knife and just stabbing an animal? I'm not even talking like a cat or a dog. If it was a frog, can you imagine just picking up a knife and stabbing it to death? Even that's just I'm not gonna do that. Fuck that. I don't want to do that. It gets kind of easier, I guess, with guns since you have that little bit of impersonality. But but killing someone with melee weapons like they've been doing in these feasts, something like that is something if I even raise the knife, I don't know if I could even do it. It'd just be there's just something that repulses that. I don't know if I can call that morality, because that's not even doing it to a person. Oh, I don't want to kill people, because if people just killed people randomly, then I might just be randomly killed. Even that, something I think it goes deeper than that. It's just something killing in general. While humans can easily do it, and it happens a lot, I don't think it's something that our brains are meant to process or meant to want to do. It probably takes something unnatural maybe to mess with that a bit. Yeah, because Mochi just kind of was I don't give a fuck. Live or die, doesn't matter. Chine had her own issues. Haru-chan here seems to be completely also have her own visions of what a god could be. The old lady was killing because she had good reasons. The smart kid was killing because they thought they had proper reasons. But it feels like something's influencing them still. Even influencing us, because we've been cold and calculated, but it still feels like something's making us go, angry in these killings. Anyway, about how flexible she really was. It inconveniences both mind and body. I don't understand. If you do something people don't want, they will start not wanting you either. That binds your mind and heart more tightly than you'd think. People who do things others really don't might even find their bodies bound too. Bound, inconvenienced people can't live in peace or die in peace. Most humans are forced to live well and be good, and that's because they all want to live and die in peace. If people begin binding others, the chains grow and encompass more and more people. So people grow up being told to live well and avoid that. But get this, if you give up on all that, if you inconvenience everyone as well as yourself and prepare to have a discomforting end, you can do bad things.
Hey, does everyone outside of here learn that? Nope. I just thought of it myself. That's mean. But I think it's surprisingly correct. If you agree, I'll join you. Let's be as villainous as we can be. I like the Western movies they show on TV. Really? What do you like? The one with the Force. Wow, if I had played this, if I had streamed this yesterday, this would have been right on time for the Force be with you. Oh man, a day late and $1 short. She really did love that series, huh? Oh yeah, because she's playing around with the flashlight like it's a lightsaber. Yeah. What character do you like? The golden one. Was that why she liked androids? No. You watched the original trilogy, and your favorite character is C-3PO? Fuck what I just said. Kill her now. Kill her now. She's clearly not human. She's clearly not human. That's like if somebody said their favorite character was Jar Jar Binks because they watched the new trilogy when they were small children and they liked the funny character, I'd be like, sure. But no one has been like, yes, my favorite my favorite character in Star Wars is C-3PO. Was that why she liked androids? Did I remind her of him? When you watch movies like that, you normally support the side of justice, right? Saying this is kind of embarrassing, but sometimes I think about how great it'd be if some handsome knight came to save me. That's a perfectly fine way to enjoy something. I never thought about becoming a bad guy. There's lots of movies with bad guy protagonists. Really? Yeah. Alright, name one, bro. Can a bad guy cry? Of course. As she began to intensely cry, I spread my arms out. She plunged into my chest with surprisingly little hesitation. Oh, she can! I embraced her damp body and looked at the sky. It was evil to grieve about parting ways with Yamabito, huh? Then perhaps she, no, everyone here, was actually insane. I was an exception. You think? We then walked around Yasumizu, barely saying a word. Then we reached a fork in the path. One led to the dorm, the other to the construction site. Here. Yeah? What? What should I call you? So, this is also something I was thinking about. Since we haven't gone and looked at the old man's shack, or we haven't really investigated what Kemi was doing, we're just fucking around with trying to see how far what kind of information a wolf can get us. Going back to that first loop, where we weren't part of the ceremony, would be kind of invaluable for us to snoop around while they're doing the feast, huh? What should I call you? A new name for a new relationship. I had a good idea for this. Just Haruki is fine. Haruki-ni-chan? No honorifics, just Haruki. Partners in evil are equal. That's a bit hard for me. It's only between us, though. Don't even use it in front of Kaori-san. Not even Kaori-san? I mean, she's a good person. Yeah, you're right. We'll kill her because we're evil, right? Exactly. Alright, Haruki. Yeah, Haru-chan. Why do you get to call me with a chan? That's not fair. It's in my nature to want to call cute girls with a chan. I'm cute. She's in high school, dude. I'm cute. Becoming evil made you at least 60% more cute. No, she's just a pain in the ass, honestly. I guess I'm fine with it then. She extended her hand to me. I grasped it tightly. And then I skilled her with a fucking grass sickle and got, aha, I got you this time, bitch. We no longer be wolves of justice, but wolves of evil. Good night, Haruki. Good night. I turned around. Hope you sleep well, city dweller. No, villain. A cold voice. Say God. Just what is a god? Do not act like you don't know. Well, I do not mind this too much. The intensity is not unpleasant. You're just the sort that enjoys playing with fire, aren't you?
I walked off as to get away from the laugh, which sounded strangely infuriated. I just remembered that the protagonist of that movie was actually the princess's brother. Wait, but then it took a turn where the princess got together with a wandering rogue. Maybe it was safer to call her Nietzsche.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute. Wait, if I just pretend I'm Luke, then I'm safe. But if I pretend I'm the dashing rogue, oh, fuck. I actually am going to get the annoying pain in my ass. Playing some like a psycho killer, watching everyone scramble to find. Yeah, you're just like the other wolves go to vote to who to kill first, and you show up late, covered in blood, and went, "Yeah, I already killed someone." I just killed someone. Yeah, the first person I came to, murdered him, dead, it's done. There's no deliberating. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna use this night to end it for the night. So I am going to save here. Save here. So this is where I will pick up where we play this game next. I do plan to squeeze in, or I was planning to squeeze in another puzzle game while playing this one. I'm just not sure if I should wait until the end of this loop when we start unlocking more things, or should I start it tomorrow as I expected? So, but something else weird might happen tomorrow. So my parents are going on a vacation, and suddenly my dad is acting like he might back out. So I might disappear for a week and a half because my mom doesn't want to waste the plane tickets and everything else. I highly doubt my dad's going to just chicken out and not go. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be here. But just in case, tomorrow, instead of swapping to the blueprints, I'm going to stream this one more time. I'm then going to leave and take them to the airport. But I'll probably know beforehand if I'm going to suddenly disappear for a week and a half. But I keep that on the low end of happening. I don't think that's going to happen. If it is, it'll be a week and a half of spending time out in Nevada, going hiking and doing things. But once again, I'm just saying this just in case. If I come on stream tomorrow and go yeah, guys, I'm going to be gone for a week and a half, just know what happened. I don't think that's happening though. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I'm going to stream this again tomorrow night just in case. I don't want to start blueprints for one night and then disappear for a while. So we're going to do this again tomorrow. If this is I will start blueprints on Wednesday and stream it on Wednesday and Thursday then. And maybe even on the weekend. Or maybe this on the weekend. I don't know. But I definitely want to start blueprints. There's a lot of people I like to watch who are streaming that game. And I can't watch them because it's a puzzle game, kind of like Outer Wilds, where once you know the secrets, you know the secrets. So I really need to start getting to play that. But I am really wrapped up in this as well. This has been very fun to read through. Anyway, I'm just going to save again just in case. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow, and I'll keep you updated to what's to come.